formation. See our team make them need to run. Cut on every trash, EMT for short. Wonder if we best once you peep the score. Up at the crack of dawn, top stories of the morning. While you're yawning, grab your coffee, rise and shine with 8:80 a.m. This is Drop Time. We provide highlights from your favorite teams. Got Dave and Rick making plenty of picks. It's Rule 76.
Good morning, everybody. It is indeed DiPietro and Rothenberg. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick. A lot to talk about on the day after Thanksgiving. It is Black Friday, of course. Sports galore today and all weekend long. In fact, I'd argue it's one of the best sports weekends of the year from Thursday through Sunday. Certainly a lot to talk about. And, oh, yeah, it's a football Friday. Jets playing the Falcons on Sunday. Giants on the road in Foxborough against New England on Monday night. So the sports weekend, if you're a Giant fan, even extends into Monday. We got Harvey Cruz. We got Joe Leo in studio producing. And we're taking you till 10 a.m. Again, hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving holiday. If you're doing some shopping today, if you're up early driving somewhere, we appreciate you spending some time with us here on 880 ESPN New York and, of course, the ESPN New York YouTube channel. There's so many different angles we could take on a football Friday here, the day after Thanksgiving. You know, I stayed up late last night. I don't know why. It was clear that this game was over. I know Harvey Cruz, my producer, we were talking about this, like why we just hung around. I guess it's because we love football, and we thought maybe there'd be some Lamar Jackson magic at some point. So I stayed up till the end of the third and final game last night, and that was the only game that stunk, right? The other games were really entertaining watches, especially the conclusion of the Chiefs-Cowboys game. I mean, just when you think the Cowboys were finished, when they had only 3 wins when they made the big Quinnen Williams deal with the Jets, and they're getting mocked for it. And I still think ultimately it was a great move by the Jets to get what they did for Quinnen Williams. You're watching the Cowboys now since. They've won 3 straight, and the last 2 wins that Dallas has now had have been against the 2 Super Bowl teams from last year. And you look at the Cowboys' schedule down the stretch, and I know a lot of Giants fans are going to hate to hear this. There is a legitimate path for the Dallas Cowboys to run the table and make the postseason. In fact, you could argue they might not even need to run the table if a few things go their way. They have 6 wins right now. They're 6-5-1 after winning 3 straight. They play at the Lions, home against the Vikings, home Chargers, at the Commanders. They end with the Giants. And that game, from a Giants standpoint, we know will mean nothing. The way they're playing, isn't it possible they could rattle off of their final 5 games, 4 wins? Maybe they run the table. I know Romo was oohing and ahhing, making weird sound effects in between all that, talking about that at the end of the broadcast with Nance last night on CBS. But it really is amazing how the Cowboys, who were at what point last week were down 21-0, were able to rally in that game against Philadelphia. And here they are now. 3 straight wins. They got the Lions coming up next Thursday. And what is a awesome game, by the way. Thursday Night Football on Prime, Cowboys at the Lions. Then there's the Lions, and they lose yesterday on Turkey Day. Packers come in. Jordan Love and that offense has not been great, and they come in and they win. And I don't know if it's a huge surprise, because one of the bets I did make yesterday, if you heard the morning show that Ty Butler and I did, I really liked the matchup with Green Bay. I just felt like their defensive line, Micah Parsons, would wreak havoc on the Lions' O-line, which has not been the same unit from a year ago. And that's been the biggest difference with the Lions. We could talk about no Ben Johnson, no Aaron Glenn. The Lions' offensive line is not what it's been. You know, Frank Ragnow, their former Pro Bowl center, came out of retirement a couple days ago just to try and help them. They convinced him to come out. So the Lions are not the same old Lions. And we saw Jordan Love yesterday completely dominate that Lions defense. 4 touchdowns through the air, tied his career high. Most by a Packer quarterback on Thanksgiving. It's now him and Brett Favre who have that mark. And you saw Micah Parsons completely take over the game. I mean, on a day where the Cowboys were able to go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the new team that Micah Parsons is on was getting a win before that. It's 2.5 sacks. He's got 12.5 now on the season. First player in NFL history with 12 sacks in each of his first 5 years. It's amazing Dallas traded that guy, but they did. And Green Bay, you can make a case, won a game yesterday because of that deal. That's the type of impact that Micah can have. And he wrecked the game. You saw Green Bay's young receivers show up, so it was highly entertaining. You saw the Packers' aggressiveness pay off, right? They scored 2 touchdowns on 4th down after having 0 all year. And then on the other side, at what point does Dan Campbell maybe reassess the I got to go for it on 4th down no matter what? There were some irresponsible decisions that the head coach made in this game yesterday watching it. They do not always need to go for it on 4th down. At one point, they were down 10. They were going to need the field goal anyway. And rather just take it, they're going for it. I just think there's such a thing as being too aggressive. And at times, it's felt like that's been the Lions this year. Nonetheless, they lose Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first quarter. He doesn't come back. They were 0 for 2 on 4th down yesterday. They're now 0 for 7 on 4th down since week 11. Like, at what point does Dan Campbell maybe reevaluate that strategy here? Just saying. So those are the first 2 games, right? And then last night, again, I don't know why I stayed up for the whole thing, but last night ends up being quite the dud, but not the way I thought it would go. I thought Joe Burrow might be a little rusty coming back. I thought the Bengals defense, which if you're a Jet fan, you know firsthand how awful they are, would not be able to slow down Lamar, even if Lamar's not 100%. But I think we got to reevaluate what we say about this Ravens team now. Lamar Jackson is not Lamar Jackson. He hasn't been now for too many weeks in a row. And I thought, hey, maybe he was being a little conservative against the Jets this past Sunday because they knew they were playing on a short week, and then he'd exert all his energy on a Thursday night divisional game, knowing he'd have 10 days to then get ready for the Steelers coming up after that. But Lamar did not look like himself. He had 3 turnovers on the night, 2 fumbles, an interception. Tied for the second most in any game of his career. He has not been the same guy. And from a Ravens standpoint, you look at where they are now, and I think a lot of us assumed, oh, well, after they started 1-5, they're going to get right back in it. Pittsburgh's going to come back to the pack, which they did. I don't know if the Ravens right now are good enough to take advantage of it. Here's the Ravens schedule down the stretch. And again, they're now 6-6. Home against Pittsburgh, at the Bengals again. We'll get to them in a moment. Home New England, at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh. I mean, the Ravens could lose all those games. They could win all those games. They could probably split, which will happen. Does 9-8 get them in? I don't know. Is 9-8 good enough to win the AFC North? Well, Cincinnati's now 4-8, and they got to be just kicking themselves that they've blown some of the games they've blown this year. Imagine they didn't blow that game to the Jets. Think about it. They didn't lose to Justin Fields having, the best statistical game he'll probably ever have for the rest of his life. Man, would Cincinnati be looking pretty good if they just had that one more win. But instead, they get Burrow back. Their defense somehow comes up with 5 takeaways. And you look at the schedule for Cincinnati down the stretch, what helps them is the fact that, again, they have a lot of division games left. And the division has come back to them. You got Baltimore now at 6-6, Pittsburgh 6-5, and the Cincinnati Bengals now at 4-8. If they could beat the Bills, I'll start to believe. Their next game is at Buffalo next Sunday. Buffalo's not the same Buffalo that we've seen the last several years. If they could go into Buffalo and beat the Bills, you're talking about now a Ravens team, a Bengals team that would now be 5-8, and then after that, they would play the Ravens again, which they need, and they obviously just proved they could go into Baltimore and win. This game would be at Cincinnati now. At Miami, home Cardinals, home Browns. It's not the craziest thing in the world for the Steelers and the Ravens to say, split their 2. The Bengals run the table here, and 9-8 is actually good enough for Cincinnati to get in. And if you look at Cincinnati's season, they're undefeated when Burrow plays. They haven't won more than just one game when he doesn't. They need him. That's stating the obvious here on DNR. Jake Asman in for the guys here on Black Friday. But again, Burrow makes them a different team. And it's not even like he was spectacular last night, but the team gets such a boost when he's out there, the energy that he brings to the table. He's 3-0 as a starter this year. And if you think about it, and they talked about this on the broadcast last night, he now has won 8 straight starts dating back to last season. Remember, Cincinnati last year had the same record. Then they went on a run to finish 9-8. They lost out on tiebreakers in Week 18, but they were alive going into that last weekend. There's a path for Cincinnati, as crazy as that is. Because I'm telling you, Lamar Jackson's not healthy right now. And I think we got to operate under the premise, I'm not sure he is going to be healthy. And we're seeing it. If he's not able to make plays with his legs, they're just not the same team. And without the pure threat of being able to take off and run, it's not the same version of Lamar Jackson that probably should have won another MVP last year. So Ravens 6-6, Cincinnati 4-8, and then here are the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have yet to play this week. We'll see what they look like, assuming Aaron Rodgers is back out there at quarterback. Pittsburgh now coming in off a loss. They got to play the Bills. So the Buffalo Bills have a back-to-back of Steelers and then Ravens coming up, and that could have all the implications for the AFC North and giving Cincinnati a potential chance to get back into it, which, again, if Cincinnati goes into Buffalo next week and wins, they're right there in the thick of it based on their schedule. I still have concerns with their defense, but you know what? It just shows you could have the worst defense in the world. If you could come up with takeaways, you have a chance to win. And by the way, the Bengals are like dead last in every defensive category. They have a game last night where they come up with 5 takeaways. For some perspective, the Jets have won the entire year. Think about that. Like, objectively speaking, the Bengals defense is far worse than the Jets in every category, except turnovers, takeaways. The Jets would have more than 2 wins if they could have some games like what Cincinnati was able to do last night. You're not going to get 5 every week, but the Jets do not have one on U.S. soil this year. Their only takeaway was in London. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. recovering a fumble. It's pathetic. It really is. I try to localize it when I'm doing talk shows here on ESPN New York for obvious reasons. But as a Jet fan, I'm watching the Bengals defense, and objectively, they stink. And they came up with 5 takeaways last night, and the Jets have won all season. And every other team in the league, the next closest to the Jets, are teams with 6. Like, the Jets are going to shatter that record, by the way. Which it should not bode well for Steve Wilks, the Jets defensive coordinator. I mean, it's unbelievable. But I digress on that. But overall, I mean, look, I think at times, the Thanksgiving games can be a bit of a dud. I think overall, were you not entertained last night? I know I was. I still can't believe the Dallas Cowboys are right back in it. Now, I'm not necessarily convinced that they're this great team, but they don't need to be. There is so much parity in the NFL this year. There really is. Look at the AFC, for example. New England's 10-2. Are we buying the Patriots are as good as the record says they are? I'm not. I got to see it in the playoffs. I really do. Denver Broncos 9-2. They're really well coached. They have an awesome defense. I don't know. When I watch Bo Nix play, I don't see a guy that I think is going to get to a Super Bowl, but I could be dead wrong because it's a wide open year. Indianapolis 8-3. You see the reports coming out of Indy about Daniel Jones' leg? Fractured fibula. He's going to play, but there was some video of him at practice that I saw yesterday. He wasn't moving too well. And as a official Colts hater now, because the Jets own their first rounders the next 2 years, I don't root for injury, but I am rooting for losses. And if Daniel Jones is compromised, how does that impact their chances of getting into the playoffs? And at 8-3, I bring up parity. The Colts are not a lock to make the playoffs. They're 8-3. Jacksonville in their division is a game behind them at 7-4. Houston is 6-5. But the Colts, they still have to play the Texans twice, and they have another game remaining. Or excuse me, they still got to play the Texans and the Jaguars 2 more times. So that division is not decided at this point. You go down the line. We mentioned the Steelers when talking about the AFC North. The Bills are 7-4 right now. And then as you scroll down, maybe more shocking than Dallas winning, the Chiefs losing. The Kansas City Chiefs, you look at their record, and they are 6-6. And it doesn't feel real. And look, Mahomes was remarkable yesterday. He had a great game. And they still couldn't win. And it's amazing because a year ago, the Kansas City Chiefs did not lose one-score games. This year, you know what their record is in one-score games after yesterday? 1-6. They were 11-0 in those games last year. That's their season in a nutshell. Yesterday, they had 119 penalty yards. And let me say this. I know the Chiefs typically get the benefit of the whistle from the NFL referees. You can't say that yesterday. You really can't. I mean, there were some ticky-tack calls that went the Cowboys' way, there's no doubt. I thought the officiating in that game left a lot to be desired, to be kind. But again, Kansas City is as vulnerable as they have been in a long, long time. And I still can't picture them not making the playoffs, but we have to at least consider maybe they're just not that good. Right? Like, maybe they're just not that good. But the bottom of the AFC, parity galore, man. Seriously. Again, New England's 10-2. I don't know if we're buying them as a legit powerhouse. Denver 9-2. Same thing. Then after that, Chargers 7-4. Jacksonville 7-4. Buffalo 7-4. Houston 6-5. KC now 6-6. Ravens 6-6. Houston, KC, and the Ravens, those were three of the final four teams in the conference last year. Right now, you look at where they're positioned, 8, 9, and 10. They would not make the playoffs if the season ended today. That's parity. Which, by the way, seemingly every NFL team can take advantage of parity besides the New York Jets the last 15 years. The Jets are the only team that doesn't get the benefit of year to year, anything can happen. No, the only thing we know with the Jets is they're going to lose double-digit games every year, which on Sunday, if they lose to Atlanta, they will officially clinch a 10th straight double-digit loss season, which is truly remarkable. Disgusting. NFC, Rams 9-2. Eagles 8-3. But then you go down the line. Chicago 8-3. They'll play today. I'm fascinated by that game. The Bears have a negative point differential despite being 8-3. We'll talk more about that game a bit later. Tampa 6-5. But they've been reeling, and Baker Mayfield, we know his status up in the air. He got banged up in that Sunday night game this past week. Seattle 8-3. Green Bay now 8-3-1. San Fran 8-4. Even with all their injuries, the Lions 7-5. The Lions 5 losses, the 8 seed right now. This is why the NFL is so fun. Year to year, you just truly never know. And there's never been a more prime example of that than what we're seeing in real time with these games. So, interesting Thanksgiving Day slate. Today, I mentioned it, Black Friday. What a sports day, by the way. Bears-Eagles, 3 p.m. today. If you're a college football fan, you have games on all day. Huge rivalry games, including Texas A&M and Texas playing for the first time in over a decade. As someone who used to live in Houston for 6 years doing local radio, let me tell you, that is the biggest deal ever in the state of Texas. Those two schools, their fans despise each other, and they haven't played because of the conference realignment and everything that happened over the last 10-plus years in a long time. And that game's everything for the Aggies, who need that win if they're going to get to the SEC championship game. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, that game's at noon. Is Lane Kiffin coaching his last game at Ole Miss? What a crazy story that is. He could just leave as Ole Miss is 10-1, and he could go to another team in the SEC. How crazy is college football that is even allowed? That could happen. Lane Kiffin could leave a team that could win a national championship, and he's going to go to LSU or Florida? Really? Georgia and Georgia Tech today, and I'll put this on the map too. All right, circle this one if you're a Jet fan. Indiana at Purdue tonight. Now, why would you watch Indiana, the number 2 seed in the country, against Purdue, who's 2-9? Fernando Mendoza, Jet fans, could be the future quarterback for the Jets next year, so a chance to watch him tonight on Black Friday. A lot to talk about. In addition to the college and the NFL games today, to Football Friday, we'll get into Jets-Falcons. We'll start to talk about the Giants and the Patriots. Jackson Dart, good news. He's cleared the concussion protocol, so he's expected to start on Monday Night Football. So we will get into that. We'll make the picks later on in the show. I know the pick segment is highly controversial on DiPietro and Rothenberg. I'm going to take things to the extreme today, all right? Dave and Rick might be off. I'm going to pick every single game on the NFL slate. I'm going to rapid fire and pick every damn game. All right, I know people miss Rick. They miss Dave. They love the picks. They love Dave screaming like a maniac. I will pick every damn game on the Football Sunday schedule and a Monday night pick for the Giants as well. All right, so we have that. later on in the show. We'll do stuff you missed. We're going to go around the league at 7:45. We will do a frenzy as well. We got a ton to discuss. Want to hear about your Thanksgiving, of course, as well. All right? If you're up early hanging out with us, we're going to have a good time at 800-919-3776. You can watch the show on the ESPN New York YouTube, so check it out. I'll be hanging out in the comment section throughout the show. A lot to do. We start with some of your calls, and we talk more about the Turkey Day games yesterday. Jake Asman with you, in for DNR. It's 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Time now for the Kuiper Report. Mel, how are you? We missed you.
Now, what are we having? Turkey?
Of course it's turkey.
And I always get that question. It's got to be turkey, and then do what you want on Christmas, whether it's crab cakes or whatever you want to do. I'm big into the stuffing. You know what I'm biggest into, guys? I want a river of gravy, because I'll take that one boat, and I'll start pouring. I'll pour. I'll say, oh, my gosh, it's almost gone. I'm a gravy freak, guys. Without gravy, it's not worth having any of that stuff.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Have a really happy Thanksgiving, Mel.
Whipped cream and gravy. What would life be without it?
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Some stages celebrate. This one tests everything. Every drive, every approach, every putt. Pressure builds. Resilience matters. And history waits for the bold. In June, the 2026 U.S. Open Championship returns to the Hamptons at the iconic Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Experience the world's best golfers competing on one of the sport's most storied stages. Don't just watch greatness, experience it live at the 126th U.S. Open. Daily tickets are available now on SeatGeek.
For over 100 years, Slomin's has been your trusted partner in comfort. When it comes to home heating oil, we deliver more than just quality fuel. We deliver peace of mind. With price protection, automatic deliveries, 24/7 service, and up to 30 days to pay your invoice. Our dedicated team is just a call away, ensuring you stay warm and comfortable all winter long. Slomin's, New York and New Jersey's largest heating oil provider, proudly serving our community for generations. Give us a call today at 866-GET-HEAT or visit oil.slomins.com.
Hey, it's Michael Kay, talking to you about my friends at PC Richard & Son. They're local, family-owned, and I trust them, and you can too. Right now, get Black Friday deals throughout the store. And with their holiday price guarantee, your price is protected. If the price goes lower from now through December 24th, they will match it. You can't beat it. Plus, you get fast and free delivery. PC Richard & Son, the company you can trust for over 116 years. Free delivery excludes Manhattan.
Ox Spine and New York Presbyterian is always in pursuit of a better way to heal the spine. We're getting more people moving again with minimally invasive, non-surgical, and surgical treatments with innovative solutions for every back and spine condition and your unique needs. Expert spine care is available now across New York City and Westchester. Find a doctor at nyp.org/oxspine. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Coach Saban here. On the field or on your walls, coverage matters. That's why I go with Behr Marquee Interior Paint and Primer from the Home Depot.
Exceptional hide, advanced stain blocking, and over 1,000 colors to choose from. Behr Marquee delivers one-coat coverage that stands up to real life. One-coat coverage, no overtime. Behr Marquee, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid only when tinted to colors from the Behr Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Collection.
At Bank of America, we asked our people, how do you take ownership of your career?
I'm able to grow my way by putting the priorities that I have for my career first.
I thrive on being a leader who's behind the team, not in front of the team.
Every few years, I'm being re-energized because I get to do something different and learn something new.
See how our teammates are growing in their careers at bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Jake Asman in for DNR. Happy Black Friday, everybody. Hockey fans and holiday shoppers. Make sure you join Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from the NHL shop in Manhattan West Plaza, a block from the Garden, Tuesday, December 2nd from 3 to 6:30. They'll be talking all things NHL and joined on site by hockey legend Mark Messier. It's all powered by Game 7 apparel and headwear as they launch their new assortment in the NHL shop NYC. Don't miss Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live on Tuesday, December 2nd from the NHL shop in Manhattan. I'm in for Kay on Tuesday, so I might stop by on my way back when I get done with the show. Say hello to some listeners there. Say hello to Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Speaking of hockey, all three of the locals in action today. I'll be at UBS Arena to go to the Islander game today. I'm excited to watch the young phenom Matthew Schaefer play. So I'm rocking my Islanders sweatshirt in the studio right now. Devils in action today as well. They're playing the Sabres. Rangers and Bruins is at 1. Flyers and the Islanders at UBS today at 4. So there's certainly a lot. Hockey, football today. Knicks play tonight against the Bucks. Sports galore. Basically gave you a game time read there too, where, I mentioned, Don. I need him screaming about Tullamore Dew right now, I feel like. Anyway, 800-919-3776. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Now, let me go to Harvey and Joe on this. All right, are you guys big Thanksgiving Day leftovers? Because I checked in before the show. You guys are only working this shift today, which means you're off at 10. You'll be able to get home today. There's games on all day, as we were just discussing. Are you guys going to do the old turkey sandwiches today? Do we have leftovers on the agenda for lunch or dinner? Joe Leo, I start with you.
Leftovers all day today, probably a sandwich proper tomorrow, and then whatever for dinner on Sunday. I'm a Thanksgiving fiend. I love, this is my favorite holiday.
So you're going to get 3 meals plus out of this.
3 at least, yes.
Well done. That's strong. I was not expecting that out of you, Joe. You impressed me there. All right, Harvey, are you a leftover guy? Turkey sandwiches? What are we looking at?
I'm huge on the leftover sandwiches, so I just need more bread. I ran out of it yesterday, so I got to get to stop in and get more bread for the sandwiches.
Need more bread? Interesting. You going to stop and get some bread on your way home?
Yeah, some Wonder Bread. Toast that up. Put it on the sandwiches. That's it.
Good for you. Good for you. Hope everyone, again, had a great Thanksgiving. Enjoyed the games yesterday. A lot to talk about, right? We started, of course, going through each of the games. The Black Friday game today I want to mention now. I'm intrigued by this. Bears at the Eagles. This, to me, is the ultimate litmus test for the Chicago Bears, who I'm not sold on. Now, look, as a Jet fan, I'd kill to be 8-3, and I think, if the Jets could pick which Lions coordinator they could hire, if they had a choice between Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, who was never going to even interview for the job, I think they would say, we'll take Ben Johnson if you gave the Jets some truth serum. He's got them at 8-3. He's doing a really good job. He deserves credit for that. The Bears have a negative point differential, though. Like, it is actually historic this late in the year to be 8-3 and have the point differential that they do have. And again, I think they're a good team and they deserve credit for winning games because ultimately, isn't that all that matters? Either you win or you don't. So I'm not trying to disparage the Chicago Bears, but are they for real, right? Are they for real? Now, they've had a lot of crazy comebacks. Caleb Williams, for his ups and downs at times this year, he's been money in the fourth quarter on some game-winning drives. The Bears are the best team in the league in one-score games. We just talked last segment about Kansas City being undefeated in that category a year ago. This year, they're 1-6. Chicago's 6-1 in one-score games. That's how you get to 8-3. They won games because of their special teams. They won a lot of games because of their defense forcing takeaways. Again, something the Jets just don't know how to do. But the Bears this year have 24 takeaways, 16 interceptions. The Jets don't even have one. So they're finding ways to win. And they're taking on an Eagles team that is coming in off of that collapse we all watched last week in Dallas. How do they respond? But they're back at home. I still think Philly is one of the best teams in the league despite some of the drama going on with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown apparently still being unhappy and everything going on there. The Eagles don't turn the ball over. Jalen Hurts, he's a guy that has historic ball security. If you look at his touchdown to that just sounds weird saying ball security, but you get the point. He has a historic ability to not give the ball away. He doesn't throw interceptions. He doesn't fumble often. And that's how the Bears have thrived. So for them to get a road win and have to rely on just being able to go up and down the field and not rely on a bunch of takeaways unless the Eagles just slip up here, I think this is a real litmus spot for the Chicago Bears if they're legitimate or not. Even if they hang with them, I think there's something to that. The Bears are going to win today. They're going to need turnovers. They're going to probably need Caleb Williams to be great in the fourth quarter again. Like, they're going to need a lot to go in as a 7 or 7.5 point underdog, depending on where you're shopping for the line. ESPN bet right now, Chicago is a 7-point dog. They're going to need a lot to win this game today, but I am intrigued. I'm also thrilled, by the way, and I was thinking this watching the games yesterday. If you're a Jet or a Giant fan, how happy are you your team didn't play yesterday and is not playing today? Playing on Thanksgiving, if you're a diehard fan, your entire day, your meal is ruined if your team goes out there and they lose. And even if they win, there's still stress involved for several hours until the game goes final. So the Jets haven't played Thanksgiving a ton, but I've hated when they've had to. They played Black Friday in the first ever Black Friday game a couple years ago. The only good part about that game was that it wasn't on Thursday. But I think if you're a Jet or a Giant fan, you got to just sit back and watch the football yesterday, watch all the games today, and you don't have to deal with the pain of your team losing. Now, I guess at this point in the year, what does it matter? But still, it's aggravation and attention you got to pay to every play of the game instead of sitting back enjoying time with your family instead. Third ever Black Friday game. And I remember there were reports that were circulating that Woody Johnson wanted the Jets to be the team that would play on Black Friday every year. Remember that story? Like the Jets were outspoken on. They volunteered. They would love to be the Black Friday team. The Lions and Cowboys have Thanksgiving. The Jets wanted Black Friday. And then the Jets decided, we're going to start Tim Boyle in the first ever Black Friday game. Tim Boyle will give the entire nation the Fail Mary 99-yard interception return, right? Javon Holland had the pick. I was talking about this with Ty Butler yesterday on the morning show. And then remember the first commercial at halftime of that game? They immediately cut to Robert Saleh brushing his teeth for like a Colgate commercial. Oh, my God, that was such a Jet debacle. The only good part about that game is the fact that I had tickets offered to me, and I said no. I said, I'm not going to MetLife to watch Tim Boyle. Can't do it. It was the only good decision I made that day. So, no, the Jets don't play today, thank God. Last year you had Chiefs at the Raiders. It might have been Raiders at Chiefs, but it was a good game. Yeah, the Raiders were a big underdog, but they covered that game. They made it close late. So this is the third ever Black Friday game. But again, no Jets, no Giants today. Jets in action on Sunday, Giants in action on Monday. And that's certainly a lot better. A lot better than having your Thursday or your Friday of Thanksgiving week potentially marred by bad New York football. And it's been bad for a long time, as everyone out there listening knows. 800-919-3776 at Jake Asman on X. You can comment along on YouTube as well. We're streaming the show live on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Just type in ESPN New York, and you'll see the DiPietro and Rothenberg live stream tab. Click that, and boom. You're on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. 800-919-3776. Subi in Midtown is first up today this morning. Subi, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for calling in on DNR.
Thanks, Jake. Regarding the games yesterday in relation to the Jets, I saw some things on the offensive side of the football that you don't get to see with the Jets. You saw efficient quarterback play from Prescott and the other quarterbacks, Jordan Love. What is it going to take for when the Jets do draft Mendoza, for him to be that product that he can call his own plays at the line, a scrimmage, move out of the pocket, deliver passes like we see other teams doing? As Dave Rothenberg always says, whenever we're watching the Jets, it seems like we're watching a totally different sport. So in terms of the Jets, do you anticipate them developing Mendoza the right way? And would you ever think about taking a risk on Lamar Jackson if Ravens say, hey, we're tired of his antics? And then what's your opinion about if the Jets can actually develop Mendoza the right way, like the quarterbacks we see, playing efficient week in and week out with the other teams?
Subi, appreciate the call. I don't know if antics with Lamar would be the way I would describe it. I mean, he's dealt with some injuries in his career, but just like Joe Burrow, when they play, they're top 5 in the league at their respective position. So, yeah, if the Ravens, and this won't happen, were to entertain moving Lamar, if you're the Jets, you absolutely, with your 5 first over the next 2 years, get in the conversation. Same thing goes for Burrow, who I don't think, 1, Cincinnati would trade, and 2, he's got a full no trade, and I don't think Joe Burrow is going to say, yeah, I'm going to leave Cincinnati, and I'm going to go play on the MetLife turf, and I'm going to go play for Woody Johnson. That's what I want to do. That's After leaving the Bengals, who are not known for their ownership group, they're known for being cheap and everything that comes with that. I'm going to go play for Woody Johnson, who's got this sterling reputation. After, Woody Johnson's most recent public comments included throwing the $40 million quarterback that he paid $30 million of it guaranteed, saying, man, if he just complete a pass, we'd be pretty good. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Same with Lamar, by the way. Now, as far as Mendoza, I don't know if Mendoza's the Jets guy. I don't know if the Jets are going to be in position to get Mendoza. They could have all the picks they want in the world. If the Saints are picking 1-1 or Cleveland's picking 1-1, how do we know they don't just take a quarterback, or the Raiders? So we'll see. Do I think the Jets would like Mendoza? Yeah, I mean, his comp is Jared Goff. We know where Glenn and Angstrom, the OC, come from. So I could see it. What I like about Mendoza, this is a guy that has started in his career a lot of football games, which is rare nowadays in college. Fernando Mendoza has been in 31 games in his career. That's not nothing. And Indiana's having this great year. He's the Heisman favorite. I like Fernando Mendoza a lot. I also don't know if he's going to end up being the number one quarterback by the time we get to late April. This changes all the time. But we know Glenn is a Bill Parcells guy. And Parcells had his QB rules for quarterback in the draft. He wanted a 3-year starter, which Mendoza could check off. He wanted quarterbacks with real experience, right? Win at least 23 games. Complete at least 60% passes. Have a touchdown to interception ratio of 2-1. So Mendoza, as far as like the modern quarterback, he doesn't have 3 full years starting, but he has close to it. And nowadays, you're just not going to see college players play as many games as they once did. Not with the transfer portal and guys moving all over the place. It just doesn't happen. So I like Mendoza. If not him, Ty Simpson from Alabama is the other hot name. This is the guy that's been a backup at Alabama for a lot of years. His first full year starting. Are you scared about the 1-year wonder with him? And then I actually like Dante Moore a lot from Oregon, but there's some thought he might stay in school. We'll see. If you're a Jet fan, you're rooting for as many QBs with first-round grades that come out to give you more options. Because not only does it give you more options, it also potentially lowers the cost of having to move up and get your guy if there's just more quarterbacks available. If there's only 1 or 2 guys that are consensus first-round picks, if you're the Jets and you win too many games here, and we'll get into the tanking debate and Aaron Glenn going full Herm Edwards the other day.
You play the game to win.
We'll get into that. But the less you have to give up is ideally better for the Jets, who need as many picks as possible to build up their team. Mendoza's super smart. If you ever listen to him, his superpower is not that he's like the ultimate athlete, the best arm. He's got a good arm, but he is deadly accurate, and he's really smart. He's a really good processor. And I think I speak for most Jet fans. Give us the quarterback with the highest floor, right? Give us the guy that we don't need to develop because we know the Jets just don't do it, right? I don't want the guy with the most tools. I'm good on that. Give me the guy that is the safe, high-floor pick, and I'll worry about the consequences after. That's how I think a lot of us look at it. But it's such a crapshoot, as we all know, and, God, having to even talk about which college quarterback the Jets are going to draft the day after Thanksgiving remains depressing. It really does. 800-919-3776. As far as Jackson Dart, he has cleared the protocol. Dart clearing the protocol, I think, is a good thing, not a bad thing. I think the Giants, maybe without knowing it, they got a break by Dart not passing the protocol last week. Give them the extra week. These games ultimately don't mean anything. Now, Mike Kafka's trying to coach for the opportunity to be the full-time head coach, but I can't worry about that. Dart being cleared, getting the extra day now. He'll play Monday night. He'll start the game. That, to me, is a good thing. And I know there's some Giants fans that say, what's the point? Shut Dart down. No. Let the guy play and get as many reps as possible. Let him get the growing pains out of the way now, so you hope going into next year he's as close to being polished as you could get him to be. And I always go back to something that Eli Manning has talked about in his career. I said this on New York Game Day this week with Mike Tannenbaum. Eli's last start in 2005, his rookie year. Remember, he led a game-winning drive against the Cowboys? Now, the game in the big picture meant nothing. Both teams were under 500. They were not good. But Eli said that game played a big part in his confidence going into the 2005 season. So I guess this was the 04 season, his first year when he replaced Warner as the starter. This game might not mean anything big picture for the Giants who aren't going anywhere, but if Jackson Dart goes out there and plays really well against New England in a primetime spot, tough environment, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And if the Giants end up losing, okay, no big deal. Get a better draft pick. Either get a really good player with your first rounder, or you could trade back with some of these quarterback-needing teams because you already have your quarterback. So to me, it's a win-win. And I want to see Dart go out there and see if he's learned from all these hits he's taken. Can he protect himself better? Right? Can Jackson Dart go out there and instead of taking, on average, 10 hits a game, can he cut that down by understanding availability is the biggest thing he has to bring to the table as a quarterback? How many times is this guy going to be checked for a concussion? It's 4 times in his last 8 games if you go back to the preseason. So I think you want to see, hey, has Dart learned from being out these last couple of weeks? Right? He goes down in the Bears game. Giants defense, what else is new? They collapse, they lose. Dable fired. This past week, again, Giants have this lead against Detroit. Defense collapse. Shane Bowen's now fired. You want to see Dart play well, see if he's learned how to better protect himself, and does the Giant defense have any spark on Monday night? That's the other storyline here. Because you're out of people to blame if you're Joe Shane. You fired Dable, Bowen's gone, Kapka's here, so you have a continuity with the play caller for Dart. For the life of me, I don't understand why the decision to fire Dable also included in that statement Joe Shane is running the search for the next head coach. But there's no one else to blame now. So if the Giants continue to stink it up and their defense continues to be brutal, I don't want to hear about, it's all Shane Bowen's fault or all Brian Dable's fault. No, the roster's also not good enough, and that's on the general manager as well. So that's a bigger picture conversation centered around the Giants. But I think Dart being back, I know there were some Giants fans who just wanted to shut him down. No, he's got to play. He's got to learn how to protect himself, and he's got to get the reps, get the experience, because all this, I believe, will help him going into next year when, if you hire the right coach, the Giants can be good next year. And it's funny, the team the Giants play Monday, that's who the Giants want to emulate next year. New England had Drake May a year ago, but he was surrounded by ineptitude coaching-wise. So what do? They got him a new offensive coordinator. Most importantly, they got him Mike Vrabel, who hired Josh McDaniels to be the OC. From a Giants standpoint, can the Mike Vrabel figure be hired for them? Is that Mike McCarthy, who just like Vrabel was an experienced coach who won a lot of games? And McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. He won 12-plus games 3 times in 5 years in Dallas. That's who I would hire. But that's kind of what you're looking at. Can you be what New England is this year? You get the coach right, and then boom. You do have some talent that needs to be coached up. But if you have the quarterback and the coach, that's 75% of being a good team in the NFL consistently. And I think they got the quarterback. I like Dart. Concerned about him staying healthy, which is why I think he needs to play. And let's see if he's learned how to better take care of himself. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick on Black Friday. We're coming right back with some of your calls. Jets, Giants, Thanksgiving Day games yesterday, Black Friday game today. Lot to talk about. Black Friday, Football Friday, DNR. Jake Asman with you on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back. I'm injury attorney John Ryan D'Agostino, nicknamed The Closer, continuing D'Agostino and Associates' legacy of helping the injured for over 35 years. My father, John D'Agostino, built this injury firm to help accident victims.
This is John D'Agostino, and this is a family firm. For us, it's about doing what's right and making sure somebody pays for your pain. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-BITE-BACK.
They call me The Closer because big or small, in court or out, I'm fighting to get the job done, to win, to get you every dollar you deserve.
D'Agostino and Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there and I'll be there for you. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
Hey, it's Desmond Howard. You want to win the weekend? It all starts with the tailgate. And for me, that means Kingsford Charcoal.
They've been bringing the flavor, the smoke, and the heat since 1920. No wonder they're still the gold standard of grilling. So fire it up, feed your crew, and let the smoke do the talking. Kingsford, the king of the tailgate. Get it today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
The Fall Savings Event continues this November at Bay Ridge Mazda. Lease the 2025 Mazda CX-30S for as low as $169 per month, or the 2025 Mazda CX-5 Select for as low as $229 per month, and get as low as 0.9% APR financing rates on select models. Plus, enjoy 1 year complimentary of Bay Ridge Plus benefits like ding and dent coverage, key replacement, windshield protection, and roadside assistance. Visit them in Brooklyn or online at BayRidgeMazda.com. Bay Ridge Mazda, where confidence comes standard. See dealer for details.
Are you like everybody else in the world who has no idea what to get everyone for the holidays? Well, you're in luck. We got you. Hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching, no fuss. Plus, Skechers slip-ins come in everyone's favorite styles and colors. And you can get slip-ins everywhere stylish footwear is sold, including a Skechers store. Or if you're too busy to shop in person, just get them online at Skechers.com, Amazon, and more.
This college football season, show your school spirit every time you pay. Introducing college-branded Venmo debit cards. Rep your team on and off the field with custom designs that let everyone know who you're rooting for. Whether you're tailgating, grabbing stacks for the watch party, or celebrating a win, you can unlock 15% cash back at ESPN, 1 free year of Perplexity Pro, and more. This college football season, score more with the Venmo debit card. Get yours now in the Venmo app. Learn more at venmo.com/collegecard.
Max cashback varies. Terms apply. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A.
Hockey fans and holiday shoppers, check out Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg December 2nd live from the NHL shop in Manhattan West Plaza, a block from the Garden. They'll be talking all things NHL.
It's hockey, man.
And they'll be joined on site by hockey legend Mark Messier. It's all powered by Game 7 apparel and headwear as they launch their new assortment in the NHL shop. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg December 2nd live from the NHL shop.
Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick. It is DNR on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app. So our social media team did a great thing yesterday. They posted a graphic, and it's one of those, tables where they put a bunch of people that are, whether it's sports or pop culture. You see this all the time on social media. Well, we did it with ESPN New York hosts, and there were 4 tables. All the hosts gathered around, 3 on each table. And the question was simple: which ESPN New York table are you sitting at for Thanksgiving dinner? I was at table 4. My table was myself, Rick, and Chris Carlin. Table 1 was Don, Dave, and Pat. Table 2 was Bart, Alan Hahn, and Dan Grasso. Table 3 was my guy Ty, Michael K., and Peter Rosenberg. And I just think table 4 is the only pick you can make, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to hear some great stories from Rick? You know, Rick would be making fun of Carlin the whole time. I'd be sitting there laughing. I think I would add to the conversation, but I would know my spot, my role there. I think table 4 is the only appropriate answer. Now, I don't know if Chris Carlin is happy to be sitting at the same table as either me, Rick, or both. Because
you can't ask Carlin, where's your partner today?
Because Chris Carlin, I believe, on Instagram, quote tweeted the post of all the hosts at these tables. And Joe Leo, you're telling me that Chris said, who do I have to talk to about these seating arrangements?
The direct quote was, "Who I would like to consult the folks who put together the seating chart." So how does that make you feel? That it doesn't really seem like he's all that thrilled to be at a table with you and Rick.
I'm
Did
going
we get that?
I'm going to
Okay.
assume that this is more about Rick than me. I mean, I think I have a good rapport with Chris Carlin. Him and I did a show together on one of the biggest days in Jets history, the trading deadline a few weeks ago. So I'm going to just, you know what they say about assuming you make an Asman out of you and me, but I'm going to assume that is what Chris is referring to. Now, I do also feel bad for Chris. People in the comments are just so mean because on the graphic of all the tables, you could see like the food buffet, and there were multiple people who were making jokes. Chris should be seated near the buffet. Ha, ha, ha. Fat joke. Low-hanging fruit. And to you people out there, shame on you. Shame on you.
Snap, fatty.
Listen, man.
Do your little dance.
But table 4 to me is the move. All right? You get Rick, you get Chris, you get me. I don't know if I'd want to sit near Bart on Thanksgiving. I feel like I could go a couple different directions, and I don't know how good some of those directions in my mind are. So I digress. If you want to see the graphic, I will retweet it at Jake Asman on X. It's on the ESPN New York X account at ESPN New York, and it's also on the ESPN New York Instagram account as well. 800-919-3776. Let's say hello to Ira in Staten Island who wants to talk about the New York Jets. Ira, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, all good, and same to you and everybody out there. Two things before we get to the Jets. Yeah, well, it's tied in with the Jets. I watched like two early games, first quarter, the first game, last game, and it just makes you really, really think how far off the Jets are. I know they have some pieces, but they got a long way to go to be able to be in the same type of conversation the teams that played yesterday. And with the quarterback situation, I had a discussion with one of the kids yesterday. Well, I'm not going to give up this many picks to go get. Listen, you don't have to be a football fan to realize Moogie loads up on all of these picks because they're going to overpay to move up to get the first pick if there's somebody that's willing to make that move. Because the Jets are going to win 2 games. And even if they don't win 2 games, they're not getting the number 1 pick. And I think Moogie already knows who he wants as a quarterback for next year, or at least to sit and watch until he's ready to play. And that's why he loaded up on those picks. And whoever it might be, like you said, you just got to keep your fingers crossed that they get this right because it's all a crapshoot. I don't take the first pick, the last pick like Purdy. It all comes down to you got to get lucky.
That's it, Ira. I agree with you. And I think when you look at like the Jets' plan, after they started 0-7, they're 1-7 at the deadline. I truly believe Glenn and Muji went to Woody Johnson and essentially said, if you let us do these deals with Sauce and Quinnen, we're going to get you your long-term answer at quarterback. And the idea that the Jets would wait till 2027, like some Jet fans have said they'd prefer, that's just not going to happen. They're going to move up if need be for their quarterback, which is why I hate to be that guy. If the Jets do lose some games here down the stretch, and I do agree, I think they will win at least 2 more, I have no real issue with them losing at this point because the more games you lose, in theory, the less you'd have to give up on a trade if you're picking higher, or maybe best case scenario, you don't have to give up anything and one of these quarterbacks comes to you. But this ends with them going quarterback in round 1, barring something completely unforeseen like a veteran option becoming available that none of us expected.
Very true, but even if they do lose and they end up winning 3 games, if there's somebody willing to trade that number 1 pick, the Jets are going to have to overpay because they know how desperate they are. Let's say, and I'm prepared for that. It's going to be a hefty price to move up because teams are going to hold us ransom.
Teams will hold you ransom, and also there's other teams that are going to potentially want to get the top pick, right? The Jets aren't the only team that needs a quarterback. New Orleans, I believe, is going to need a quarterback. I don't think Tyler Shuck is their long-term answer. Vegas is going to need a quarterback. I think the Raiders might actually be the worst team in the league. It's either Tennessee or them. Right now, the Raiders would pick 5. Tennessee, they're all alone with the number 1 pick right now at 1-10. Cleveland's 3-8. If you're a Jet fan, root for Shedeur Sanders to play well enough where Cleveland says, we're not going to take a quarterback, we're going to give Shedeur a chance. I'm still not sold on that. Those, to me, are the teams you're the most concerned with for getting one of these quarterbacks. But I agree with Ira. The Jets are not going to be outbid if push comes to shove and they like one of these guys. And again, I don't think the Jets are making the deals they made at the deadline to then have a different bridge option at quarterback going into next year. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think they will add a bridge option or two. But I don't think that bridge option is going to be someone that is going to keep a rookie on the bench for the full year. It could be similar to what happened with the Giants, where the plan wasn't for Dart to play at all. But you know what? Things happen. Every time you say, the rookie's not going to play, they end up playing sooner than anyone thinks. And I think that will happen with the Jets. And if they do trade up to number 1, you're really going to tell me they're going to keep Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson or Dante Moore on the bench for the entire season or even half the season? That's not going to happen. The second the Jets get off to a 1-5 start, what do you think the first lever Aaron Glenn's going to try and pull for job security? Job perseverance. He's going to play the rookie. Because then if you're losing games with the rookie, you could say, well, we needed our guy to get the development and we're going through the growing pains. But year 3 is when it all comes together. That's the new plan they'll unsell Woody Johnson on. And look, I'm certainly not sold on this head coach, but he's got no chance without a quarterback, and that's why they're going to do everything they can to get that guy this offseason. And I don't care if people out there don't like these quarterbacks. I don't think there's one that's generational, whatever the hell that means. It's a crapshoot. Oh, there's no generational prospect in this draft. Okay, and the last guy we had that label was Caleb Williams. He's been okay so far. The guy before that was Trevor Lawrence. If he played in a different media market, what would the conversation about Trevor Lawrence be? He's the most overrated player in the league. Seriously. There's no perfect quarterback prospect. I think what the Jets need to do is find their guy, get that guy, and don't make the Sam Darnold mistake all over again, where you actually picked the right player, but you did such a poor job surrounding him with a roster he could win with and a coaching staff he can win with. We never knew until years later. Some of us knew. I liked Sam, but I couldn't sit there pound the table 3 years in that he's definitively the guy when he threw 9 touchdowns in his last year. But that team was garbage, and his head coach was Gase. So from a Jet standpoint, the less you have to give up, the better, but you still do have $100 million in cap space you're going to use to try and improve your team. And look, I know the Jets aren't good. The record's the record. The one thing they do have, though, is a good offensive line, which is why it's so hard to believe how bad they've been this year. You have 2 bookend tackles. Armand Membu, if O-lineman can win Rookie of the Year, he'd be in the conversation. That's how good he's been. Joe Tippmann's a really good guard or center, depending on where they put him. You have Garrett Wilson. I like what I've seen from John Mechie and A.D. Mitchell as far as adding some depth to that receiver room. I think Mason Taylor's a solid tight end. Like, it's not the worst place for a rookie if you have some confidence that Glenn will improve as a head coach and Tanner Engstrand, who's done some good things as the offensive coordinator with a real quarterback that fits what he wants to do as an offensive guy, could get the most out of that player. Plus, I will give the Jets the benefit of the doubt, which is dangerous. I think because they didn't trade Breece Hall, that means they have every intention of keeping Breece Hall. So you got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, some good players on the offensive line, a tight end that could play. You're not walking into nothing no matter who the quarterback is next year. The coach has to get better, though. There's no other way around that. 800-919-3776. More of your calls coming up. Monster College Football Day. We'll check in with someone on that. My guy BK down in Texas is going to join us. He covers the Texas Longhorns, Texas A&M, Monster College slate. We'll talk about that and much more in the 7 o'clock hour. Jake Asman in for DNR, taking you till 10 a.m. Right now, it's time for Debbie with traffic.
Hey, good morning, Jake. Let's see what's happening out here this morning. LIRR on a regular schedule. Metro North is running on a Saturday schedule. New Jersey Transit on a weekend schedule. Lots of volume around Woodbury Commons right now. Extra traffic on 32, 17, and 6 getting out toward Woodbury Commons. Route 1 southbound at Plainfield Ave in Edison. It's an accident with a down traffic signal. Sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Debbie Duhaime on 880 ESPN New York.
Hey, this is Mika Zibanejad.
Hey, this is Adam Fox. Catch every Rangers game right here on 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
One touchdown can change everything. The crowd, the momentum, the game itself. It never gets old. Feel that same rush with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, where every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action's in your hands. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets, every play, every snap, every game matters. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When your team hits the end zone, you could hit the pay dirt. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WHSQ. That's code WHSQ. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. 21 and over. New York only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Serving contractors, builders, and homeowners in the tri-state area since 1987, Brooklyn Window and Door is New York City's largest stocking dealer of quality Andersen window and doors. The professionals at Brooklyn Window and Door will help solve any of your window replacement needs or applications. Visit Brooklyn Window and Door's award-winning showroom to see the complete Andersen product line, including the 400, 100, A&E series. Andersen, built, backed, and serviced like no other window.
Visit Brooklyn Window and Door at 185 30th Street in Brooklyn or call 718-WINDOWS.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Spiked Aid, Security Dodge, Amazon Pickup, and ESPN New York.
Getting sick always happens at the worst time, the middle of the night, weekends, or right before the holidays. Your doctor's office is closed and urgent care means long waits and big bills. That's why I keep a medical emergency kit at home. Prescription medications ready when I need them. And right now, during their Black Friday sale, you can get the lowest price of the year. This isn't a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care and a pharmacy right there in your home. You get essential prescriptions like a generic Z-Pack, plus antibiotics for pneumonia, strep, ear and sinus infections, even meds for nausea and UTIs. Just match your symptoms to the guidebook and make sure to connect with their telemedicine doctor. Take your meds early and feel better faster. Order your kit online in minutes before you need it, and your kit will be shipped right to your door. Don't miss out on the Black Friday savings. Visit urgentcarekit.com/Black Friday. That's urgentcarekit.com/Black Friday. urgentcarekit.com/Black Friday.
Prescription required. Always consult your doctor to determine if this product is right for you.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg on 98.7 ESPN.
DNR with you, Jake Asman, in for the guys. Happy Black Friday. Hope everyone, again, had an awesome Thanksgiving holiday. If you're a sports fan today, I mean, where do you start? There are so many games on Black Friday in the NFL for the third straight year. A game If you're a hockey fan, all the locals in action, basketball, Knicks in action tonight. And if you're a college football fan, the rivalry games getting underway today are absolutely epic, and that includes one of the biggest games that will be played all season long in college football. That is Texas A&M in Austin to take on Texas. And for those who don't know anything about me, I lived almost 6 years in Houston, and the biggest rivalry by far is Texas A&M versus Texas, but they haven't played in so long because of conference realignment and everything that went on with that. So this is the first time these two schools will meet in years, and I know it's a huge game. A&M, the third-ranked team in the nation. They need to win to basically get to the SEC championship game, and if you think Michigan and Ohio State's a huge rivalry, think that, but on the grandest of stages here because, again, Texas A&M and Texas, they have not played in so long. So I reached out to my old radio partner, a UT alum. He covers both schools for Texas Sports Unfiltered. And you know it's a big game if Brad Kellner is up this early, and he's nice enough to call in and come on the show for a few minutes to preview this one. So, BK, appreciate you hopping on, and I know this is a huge one for you and everyone in Texas. So thanks again for stopping by our show here in New York.
Anytime, Jake. Appreciate you having me on, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone tuned in this morning.
Likewise. So, I mean, again, I tried to put it into words there, but you could do it better than I can. Can you put into words just the magnitude of this game between A&M and Texas and why it's such a big deal for both teams' fans?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. It's the first time these two teams have met in Austin since 2010. They did play last year in College Station, but it's the first time the game has been a home game for Texas in a long, long time. And obviously there's a lot on the line. Texas A&M, number 3 in the country. They're undefeated. They're going for their first 12-win season in almost 30 years. If they win today, they will be in the SEC championship. And for Texas, look, the Longhorns started the year as the number 1 team in America. Obviously hasn't been the year that Longhorn fans were hoping for, but Texas still has an outside shot to make it to the college football playoff, and there'd be no better way to get that done than obviously to stick a fork in A&M's perfect season. So it's a huge rivalry. I mean, it's two massive schools down here, two massive fan bases, and so much on the line in this one tonight. It's going to be a fun one in Austin for sure.
Do you sense anything different with how these schools treat this now that it's part of the SEC and it's not a Big 12 or an old Southwest Conference game, BK?
You know, you kind of do, Jake, because Texas A&M, when they made the move to the Southeastern Conference following the 2011 season, they wanted to move away from Texas. They wanted to be the only team from the state of Texas in the SEC. That was such a recruiting advantage for them because, so many of these kids want to play in the SEC because that conference constantly sends more players to the NFL draft than any other. And the SEC kind of went behind A&M's back when they invited Texas to join the conference, right? They didn't inform A&M that was happening. So, Texas A&M was not happy at all that the Longhorns joined the league. They felt like they lost that big advantage that they had. So, yeah, you have that too. I mean, it just means more. That is the slogan for the SEC conference, and it does feel like there's more on the line and more at stake, and just more people nationally who care. I mean, the Big 12 has kind of fallen off a cliff over the last few years since Texas and Oklahoma left the conference, and really even before those schools departed, it wasn't on the same level of the Big 10 or the SEC. So, yeah, I think more people nationally are more locked into what goes on in the SEC, and the fact that you kind of have this in a standalone spot on Black Friday night makes this feel a little bit bigger than it normally did in the past.
Brad Kellner with us, host of Bucky and BK, Texas Sports Unfiltered, all over everything in the SEC, all over everything college football. Texas hosting A&M tonight in a monster game for everyone out there that is locked in to the rivalry weekend slate here before, of course, the conference championship games next week. And BK, you brought it up. Texas, the preseason number 1. They've been up and down this year, but I know Arch Manning, and here in New York, we've been closely following him because not only is his last name Manning, but there's a thought that, hey, the Jets or even the Giants, of course, maybe they could use a quarterback that could be tanking for Manning at some point. So we've been following Arch now since he committed to Texas. What have been your thoughts? First full year starting. I know it's been up and down, but you're watching every snap of every game. How would you evaluate what you have seen from Arch Manning?
Yeah, it's been an up and down year for Arch, but look, if you close the book on him after the first month of the season, then you're missing out because he has really elevated his game in the last 4 weeks. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in America over the last month of the season. So obviously a rocky start. Texas played that big game against the defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes in week 1. Arch Manning really struggled. The Longhorns lost that inexcusable game to Florida to open up SEC play at the end of September. And it was a rough start for him, but he has been fantastic over the last month, averaging more than 328 passing yards per game. He's got 11 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, even a receiving touchdown in his last 4 games. So he's elevated his play. A problem for Texas this year, they've had no running game to speak of. It's been the worst Longhorn running game since 1944. The offensive line has been up and down all season long. So, some of the struggles for the Texas offense, look, Jake, you know how it is. They always fall on the quarterback, and when your last name is Manning, the microscope on you is bigger than just about anybody else. So, Arch has taken a lot of heat for some struggles of the 10 guys around him. But again, he's played a lot better as of late, and if the Longhorns have any shot of pulling off an upset tonight, it's going to ride on the shoulders of number 16 wearing burnt orange.
Texas A&M tonight. Huge game, of course, in the SEC. BK, Brad Kellner with us here. DiPietro and Rothenberg, Jake Asman in for the guys. From an A&M perspective, BK, I mean, they're a team that I feel like, at least here in New York, for those who are into college football, feels like they're a bit under-discussed. There's so much attention, of course, on Ohio State and what they've been able to do. And, of course, you look at A&M, this is like the best year that they have had in such a long time. What stands out about their team, the 11-0 record, and the fact that, here they are trying to almost validate, their season by trying to get a win in a hostile road environment tonight?
Right. Well, you got to give their head coach, Mike Elko, some credit. It's his second year in College Station. He took over for Jimbo Fisher, and, that thing became a train wreck in his last few years in College Station. He's a great defensive-minded coach, and he's done a tremendous job just kind of eliminating the outside noise and the circus that was going on at A&M. But I think, if this is your first time watching this Aggie team tonight, you're going to be impressed by the speed they have on the outside. They've got 2 Sunday wide receivers in Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver, a couple of guys who transferred in this past offseason. Obviously, the transfer portal is such a big part of college football these days, but they are incredibly fast. That's their best skill. That's what separates them. And, Marcel Reed, their quarterback, he's been a bit up and down, but he's a dual threat, and if he gets those guys the balls in space, they can turn an 8-yard gain into an 80-yard gain in the blink of an eye. So it's a fast A&M football team. They've recruited at a really high level, even under Jimbo Fisher. They just couldn't turn that into winning games, but now they've got a head coach who's developing guys and finding ways to make the right decisions on game day. And, it's a dangerous Aggie team. Look, A&M's in the playoff regardless of what happens today, so it kind of feels like a wide-open year in college football, Jake. It doesn't seem like there's one dominant team that's head and shoulders above anybody else. And as much as it pains me to say as a Texas grad and lifetime Longhorn fan, A&M's got a shot to make some noise with some of the talent that they have up and down their roster.
So I've heard both fan bases say that this game matters more than like a neutral site semifinal, very similar to Ohio State and Michigan every year. Is that actually true when you talk to fans of both these schools, BK, or is that just like message board bravado?
No, it does. I mean, it's a huge deal. It's just bragging rights for 365 days. And again, A&M makes the playoff even with the loss today, but they just it doesn't mean the same. It's not the same making the college football playoff if you couldn't beat Texas in that same season. And for the Longhorns last year, Texas obviously needed to beat A&M to make it to the SEC championship game, and it just wouldn't have been the same season without a win over Texas A&M. So it's a huge deal. It doesn't quite get as much love nationally, and obviously the fact that Texas and Texas A&M went nearly a decade and a half without playing each other, that took some of the national steam off of the rivalry, but it's a huge deal. I mean, if you're looking for a college football, it's like a bucket list item to go catch a great rivalry game in college football. Absolutely worth making the trip. And I love the neutral site games. They're always fun, right? Texas plays Oklahoma every year at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, which is a tremendous atmosphere. But the fact that you've got, 100,000 plus wherever this game is played every year, it makes it special. And yeah, the bragging rights you get Thanksgiving weekend with all the Texans, it's a big deal, whoever gets this one done tonight for sure.
Some other big games today, Ole Miss at Mississippi State. I bring this up because I think even if you're not the biggest college football fan, you know who Lane Kiffin is, and I'm just fascinated by the fact he could potentially leave a team that has a legit chance to go on a run and win a national championship, and he could leave for a different team in his own conference, either Florida or LSU reportedly is coming after the Lane train there. Your thoughts on that, BK, someone who covers all the SEC? Is today maybe the last time we see Lane Kiffin coaching Ole Miss?
Well, you talk about tarnishing a legacy, right? I mean, Lane Kiffin may be the best coach Ole Miss has ever had, and, that's a team that's never made the college football playoff. He could leave before a playoff run even starts, something we've never seen in college football. And I know the college football playoff hasn't been around for that long, but I mean, just think about it from an NFL standpoint, right? Like you would never see a coach leave for another job right before his team is about to start a postseason run. It's absolutely insane. And, Lane Kiffin's like the biggest troll in college football. So he's been tweeting out motivational quotes, and he's been hinting towards staying, hinting towards leaving, doing all of these radio interviews nationally, and nobody really knows what he's thinking. But there's a weird feel about that game. It's a game at Mississippi State, but, there are going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans there. And honestly, Jake, I don't think people really care about that game. Like, I know it's a big rivalry with the Egg Bowl, but nobody really cares about who wins or loses. Everybody is so locked in on what Lane Kiffin does. And like you said, he's almost holding 3 fan bases hostage right now with Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida. And we've only seen one big hire made in the coaching cycle with James Franklin going to Virginia Tech. The reason we haven't seen more dominoes fall in this college football coaching carousel is everybody is waiting to see what Lane Kiffin does. So apparently we're going to get an announcement tomorrow. I think he's leaving because that's just who Lane Kiffin has always been. But, it's going to be weird vibes in the Egg Bowl this year. I don't know who cares about the game. Everyone just wants to know what the guy they once called Joey Freshwater is going to be doing.
Okay, so you look at the college football playoff right now, right? Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, they feel like the top 4 seeds, so they'd get the bye. But you said something earlier I want to hit on. It feels like, just similar to kind of the NFL, I was talking about this in the first hour, feels like it's very wide open in college football, maybe more wide open than it's been. Do you agree with that? Does it feel like if there was ever a year for a surprise team to go on a run, it could be potentially this season in college football?
I think so. I mean, I think the transfer portal, NIL, like obviously the big dogs, the teams with the most money can obviously spend the most and bolster their roster the most. But it does feel like it's kind of leveled the playing field. And not every 5-star player is going to Alabama or Ohio State every year because some of these other programs have enough money to go spend on a few guys to sort of separate the talent pool around college football. So I think so. I mean, look, Ohio State should be considered the favorite. They are the Vegas favorite right now. They obviously won it last year. They've been number 1 since they beat Texas in the opening weekend of the college football season. But, I mean, I do feel like this is wide open. I don't think there's anybody who's head and shoulders over anybody else right now. And you probably eliminate teams 11 and 12 who make the playoff, right? I don't think any team from the ACC is good enough this year. I don't think a G5 team is ever going to be good enough to win a national championship. But, I mean, Jake, right now Alabama's number 10. Like, you're telling me an Alabama team with as much talent as they have and a quarterback in Ty Simpson who would probably be a Heisman finalist if the season ended today, like, there's no way they're not good enough to make a run at a national championship. So, yeah, it does feel like one of those years where, hey, if you're in, you've got a chance. And, I think it's shaping up to be a pretty tremendous college football playoff here next month.
Who would be the Heisman winner if you had a vote, BK?
Man, I've gone back and forth on this a lot. And then what Fernando Mendoza is doing, obviously at Indiana, is tremendously impressive. Ty Simpson with the job that he's done at Alabama has been great. I think Gunnar Stockton's been underrated. I'd probably go with Fernando Mendoza or Jeremiah Love, the running back at Notre Dame. I feel like this has become a quarterback award way more than it should be, and I don't think there's a better player in college football than Jeremiah Love right now. But every time I look at the rankings, every time I turn on college football every Saturday and I see a number 2 by Indiana's name, it still blows my mind, right? I mean, it's just something that we and just about everybody tuned in have never seen in our lifetime. So the fact that he's playing at that level, coming in as a transfer, everyone kind of thought Indiana was a one-year wonder with what they did in 2024. The fact that they've gotten even better this year and Mendoza's been doing his thing at such a high level, and a guy that nobody had ever heard of now might be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft in April. He deserves a lot of love. I think he's the favorite right now in Vegas, and if I had a vote, I think it'd be going to him, just considering how valuable he's been to that Hoosiers ball club all season.
And we're based in New York, as you know, so I could tell you a lot of Jet fans, they like Mendoza. They think that he could be the guy for the Jets if they get the top pick or they trade up. And we all know the Jets will end up ruining Fernando Mendoza, but at least we have the thought of, hey, this guy could be pretty good for the Jets next year, BK.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great arm. He's got the size. He's got the measurables. And, look, he put up some decent numbers at Cal. I don't know how many people were watching Cal play football these last couple of years, but it's not like a guy who did absolutely nothing in his college career before this season, but you put him in a better system, You put more talent around him, and obviously you give him a little bit more of a national spotlight, and you could see what he could do. So plenty of reasons for Jet fans to be excited about the possibility of getting him. And I heard you talk in the segment before, right? I mean, Tennessee, the Raiders, there's a bunch of teamers around the league who are going to be loving this guy through the pre-draft process. So, yeah, he'll be fun to watch. You know, Indiana plays Purdue this weekend. They'll beat them by a ton, but Big Ten championship game, you know, more than likely going to be Indiana and Ohio State if both of those teams take care of business this weekend. So if you're looking to see what Mendoza can do against, I don't want to say an NFL defense, but obviously the Buckeyes have a ton of NFL talent on that defense, then next Saturday is going to be must-see TV to see, all right, if this guy can be the future of the Jets or any other NFL franchise.
Final question. I know you're a Cowboys fan. You grew up in the Dallas area. Are people in Dallas or Cowboys fans after yesterday, 3 straight wins, 2 wins in a row against the teams in the Super Bowl last year, are Cowboys fans believing again in this team that they could actually go on a run and make the playoffs?
Oh, Jake, of course they are. Cowboys fans, man. I mean, they could have lost yesterday, and there would still be people believing that they can make a run at this thing. Look, it's very impressive, and one thing I hate doing is giving Jerry Jones credit, but you got to give him some credit for some of the moves that he's made. Obviously, going to get Quinnen Williams from the Jets has been massive. He's just been such a difference maker in the teeth of that Cowboys defensive line, finally getting some pressure up the gut, and obviously the run defense has gotten so much better since Q came to Dallas. And that offense, man, I mean, the CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens combination is lethal. It's really tough to stop. Dak Prescott is playing at an incredibly high level. Javonte Williams has kind of found the fountain of youth at running back. So, look, I'm not buying in too much just yet. I think the Cowboys are too far behind the 8 ball, and the NFC is loaded right now. I mean, San Francisco's the 7th seed, and they're 8-4. So the Cowboys, despite this mini run that they've been on, they've got a lot of ground to make up and a lot of teams that they have to pass to get in. But man, they're playing a good brand of ball right now, and obviously to beat both teams who were in the Super Bowl last year in a 4-day span would give any fan base at least a little bit of confidence. But I am, if you ask me today if I think the Cowboys are going to go on some crazy run and make the playoffs, I would still say no. But obviously some reasons for optimism that, okay, maybe they could be back in the mix next season.
BK, I know it's a big game if you're up this early getting set for Texas and Texas A&M. You are not a morning guy, so I appreciate you making some time to call in, be on with us here in New York. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm excited to watch. I know how big a deal it is in the state of Texas, so it's going to be a great game. Looking forward to checking it out later.
Yeah, Jake, the 12-hour tailgate starts now. I'm cracking open my first beer right after I hang up, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. The great Brad Kellner, host of Bucky and BK, Texas Sports Unfiltered, longtime radio guy, based in Texas, used to do radio with BK in the afternoons on the ESPN station in Houston. And I'm telling you, for those who are unaware of how big of a rivalry A&M in Texas is, it's a big one. And it's huge for Texas A&M, as BK outlined, with their undefeated record. So good stuff there from him. And not just that game, but Georgia playing Georgia Tech today. The Egg Bowl with Ole Miss. We talked about Lane Kiffin. Is this his last game there? Crazy. And what a joke, by the way. Again, like you could say a lot of things are wrong with the NFL. The one thing they have right is that you're not allowed to talk to any coach if their team's in the playoffs till after the playoffs end. An assistant or obviously a head coach. And this is a head coach who's potentially going to leave a 10-1 football team that's going to the college football playoff, and he's going to leave and go to LSU or Florida, which are both in the SEC. It's unbelievable. It'd be like if, Bill Belichick was having conversations with, like, the Dolphins as the Patriots were getting set to start their playoff run. Go to a team in the same division. It's just asinine. But that's college football in a nutshell. But the games have been great, and I'm excited to watch a bunch of them today and tomorrow. 800-919-3776. Quick break. We'll get right back to some of your calls. We got Will Parkinson joining us in just a bit. Talk some Jets with him. A lot still to do. Jake Asman in for Rick, in for Dave. It's DNR on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
Listen up, New York. It's football season, and you should be out there enjoying every play, every tailgate, every moment. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. That's where Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain comes in. He's one of New Jersey's top pain specialists, Ivy League trained, double board certified, and dedicated to getting you back in the game. Here's the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical, image-guided procedures that get real results. Dr. Shaw treats everything from neck pain, back pain, migraines, nerve pain, and chronic joint pain. And he builds a custom game plan that's right for you. Same day or next day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. And yes, most major insurances are accepted. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Go to SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
Right now at Bay Ridge Honda, experience the wonder of holiday savings on Honda cars, trucks, and SUVs during Happy Honda Days, like the Accord SE, only $239 per month, or the all-wheel drive Honda Ridgeline for only $289 a month. These clearance deals won't last long. Plus, receive thousands in benefits and savings with their Bay Ridge Plus Advantage plan. Upfront pricing, total peace of mind. Visit BayRidgeHonda.com. 36 months lease, 7,500 miles per year, $38.99 down, plus tax, tag, and fees. See dealer for full details.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Holding. Defense. The ref totally blew that call.
Oh, I'm sure he'll make the right call next time.
It's too late. It cost us the game.
Well, it's just one game.
That loss eliminated us from the playoffs.
Oh, the playoffs are on so late. Now you'll be well rested.
Okay, I need you to stop talking now.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Are you like everybody else in the world who has no idea what to get everyone for the holidays? Well, you're in luck. We got you. Hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching, no fuss. Plus, Skechers slip-ins come in everyone's favorite styles and colors. And you can get slip-ins everywhere stylish footwear is sold, including a Skechers store. Or if you're too busy to shop in person, just get them online at Skechers.com, Amazon, and more.
It's DNR right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app. The ESPN New York holiday party is back. Both the Michael K. Show and Don Hahn and Rosenberg are bringing the holiday cheer at your mother's house in Garden City Park, Long Island on Friday, December 12th. We're once again collecting unwrapped toy donations this year to benefit the Garden to Dreams Foundation. It all kicks off at 1 p.m. Friday, December 12th. At your mother's house, brought to you by Amazon Pickup, Security Dodge, and Spiked Age, ADE. How do I pronounce that? I want to get it right. I screwed it up on New York Game Day, and then I was thinking to myself, wait, now I'm in my head on the proper way to say it.
You got it right. It's Spiked Aid.
Okay, I said it right. Spike Aid. Just wanted to make sure. The good people at Spike Aid. I mean, it's you want to get these things right, Julio. I mean, geez, I'm a professional. I was in my head. I was working with Tom Bauer on Sunday, and he was in my ear, and he said something, and I'm like, oh, did I pronounce it wrong? And now, I'm like, having like the second guessing. You don't want to second guess yourself as a talk show host.
Don't make Tom second guess yourself. Like, You got it right.
I respect Tom Bauer. He's got a lot of influence over me.
I respect him too, but don't let me get in your head.
All
It's
right.
the last place you want Tom Bauer.
Yep, he's a good man, that Tom Bauer. Does a good job producing the show with Mike T and I on Sunday. Our guest right now does a great job talking all things Jets and NFL. It's a Football Friday. Jets in action Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. And we say hello to the host of the Turn on the Jets podcast, Will Parkinson, who's kind enough to join us. Will, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for coming on DNR with us this morning.
Thanks. You as well, Jake.
So for you, Will, Jets at 2-9, and I got to ask you about the debate that the entire fan base is having. Tank versus no tank. Are the Jets, in your opinion, better off losing games here down the stretch, or do you still think there's something to be said for winning games here over the Jets' final 6 weeks?
I think specifically the next 4 weeks, you want to see how they compete and how they can win games. I think, at the end of the year, it's a Week 18 situation, and it's a difference in picking 1 versus picking 3. And it's a meaningless game for Buffalo. It's a meaningless game for the Jets. I understand the concept of, hey, it's 1 week. It's not going to change much. But, Jake, I think the next couple of weeks, specifically the next 2 weeks, they've played much better, I think, overall the last 5 weeks-ish. I would say, and you want to see what this coaching staff looks like. You want to see some of these young players, how if you can continue to evaluate the John Mechie's of the world, the A.D. Mitchells of the world, the Azari Thomases of the world, and, you want to see these guys continue to learn how to win. That's why I still think it was important that they beat the Browns. It's important that they figure out a way to beat the Bengals, especially on the backs of a lot of their young players, making impact plays and guys that'll be here. So Aaron Glenn's got to learn how to win as a coach as well and continue to instill that culture. So for right now, I don't know, it's an Atlanta team coming in here. Wouldn't say a lot about this coaching staff. They fell flat on their face and got embarrassed 27-9. I think I would say you'd be concerned about not only the roster, but also the coaching staff. So for right now, I think it's still important to win football games. I know people won't want to hear that, and I don't think this is a draft where it's worth the tank wars and things of that nature. But again, I'd understand maybe a Week 18 situation, but for right now, I think it's important to continue to try to win football games.
It's such a fine line because on one hand, you do want to see this coaching staff look competent. You want to see young players play well. But I think what you don't want is an ugly game where you win 13-9. You don't really learn much about your team. And that's the fine line of you want to see competency and guys play well, but you almost want the Ravens game over the course of these final 6 weeks here where you're playing well competitively, you're in the game, but you just don't have enough at the end. But it's tough because to your point, the teams the Jets play coming up, Will, you could speak more about this. They're in the Jets weight class, so I do expect the Jets to have a chance to win some games here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I just settle on this, Jake, where if they win the next couple of games, and I don't know, they finish the season 5-12, and you see stark improvement, which I think you have seen improvement over the last month to 5 weeks around this entire staff. I still think Wilkes is obviously a liability, and I think Glenn's starting to figure it out. Now, do I think all that matters is wins? Yes. So until he wins football games, and yes, they played hard against the Ravens, and they should have probably won, but. And different things like that. Yeah, I totally understand that. So, I don't know. To me, they finished 5-5 over the last 10, and, it's on the backs of the young players, as you mentioned. If Tyrod Taylor goes out there and it's the reason they win the next 2 games, that doesn't really do it for you as much as, wow, we saw, another big performance out of some of these young receivers. The offensive line played well. On defense, Azari Thomas comes up with, an interception, which the Jets never turned the football over. So, that seems like a pipe dream, but the point is that would show a lot more than just, we did a great job because Alan Lazard scored a touchdown. That's not doing it for you. In terms of their opponents, Jake, I fully expect the Jets to win on Sunday. Post-Thanksgiving, Kirk Cousins outside in a rainy, messy game at MetLife in the end of November. No Drake London. Obviously no Michael Penix. This is going to be one of those games where I kind of think the Falcons have been spiraling and the Jets have been playing better football as of late. I would expect the Jets to win on Sunday. The next 2 games, again, I understand that some people from the tank perspective won't want to hear this, but I don't know, the Jets win back-to-back games here, and they can pick up divisional win. I know Miami's not very good. They have been playing better of late as well. They've never beaten Tua, so in some ways, I'd like to see the Jets get a division win and see if they can kind of cut their chops in the division. Anything happens when New England comes in, but yeah, these next 2 opponents are, a lot of talent on both those teams. Big names guys like Bijan Robinson, obviously Drake London if he were to be playing, people of that Kyle Pitts, etc. But the Jets should should be in Atlanta's weight class enough to get one at home on Sunday and get their third win in the season.
Will, you brought up Steve Wilkes. I think Aaron Glenn is not going anywhere. I honestly, at this point, would be surprised if Tanner Engstrand, the offensive coordinator, went anywhere as well. But Wilkes, and I bring him up because you mentioned him, the Jet defense, they have one turnover on the entire season. And even a team last night watching the Cincinnati Bengals on Thanksgiving, their defense is dead last in basically every category. But here they are in a game having 5 turnovers against the Ravens. And again, the Jets have won the entire year. They don't have an interception yet, which breaks an NFL record. Your thoughts on Wilkes down the stretch here? Do you think he's coaching for his job, or do you think Glenn in his mind has already made the decision that Steve Wilkes is not going to be brought back as the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, this really feels like the Anthony Lynn situation in Detroit in 2021, which Glenn was a part of with Dan Campbell. And, again, everyone, we've heard about the example of Detroit with Aaron Glenn probably far too many times for your liking and many others, and the improvement there. But, Anthony Lynn was a former head coach, former, veteran assistant, obviously was part of those Jets staffs back in the late, 2009, 2010 teams before he went over to the Chargers and Bills and et cetera. But, they weren't very good on offense. And Dan Campbell, again, brought over the veteran head coach, assistant to kind of help him get, his feet under him. And he fired him, after the year, even though he's obviously a well-respected guy, well-liked. And he brought in Ben Johnson, Jake, and that was able to help really spark a turnaround with Detroit, other than, in addition to obviously adding to the roster and guys starting to play better in the culture setting. And so you just wonder, does this happen again? Does this happen for the Jets in a positive way of, Wilkes did his job. It was the right process. It was probably the wrong hire, ultimately at the end of the day. Wilkes, again, helped Glenn to be able to, kind of focus on being the CEO and things of that nature, and he could take over the defense. But this feels like a team that could use a Jim Leonard, who's been an excellent, assistant in Denver. There's obviously a relationship there with Darren Muji and Sean Payton and Chris Banjo, et cetera. And Glenn, I think could use that maybe fresher mind. Wilkes has done it for a really long time, and he's had some really impressive years throughout his career. But this year, with the lack of turnovers, it just feels like the scheme feels a bit outdated. The blitz packages, especially on third down, very predictable. They don't really ever get home. I think that would be a worthwhile to kind of maybe give Wilkes the promotion upstairs while it's really a demotion, or maybe he takes some time away, from football. But I think that defensive coordinator would be the place I'd be looking to add on this staff, whether it's a Jim Leonard, does someone like a Jim Schwartz or Wink Martindale, kind of those veteran names, Shake Freed. Is it a guy like Al Harris that's in Chicago, who was fantastic with the Cowboys and obviously a former great player as well. He's a guy who prides himself on, these DBs creating turnovers. You remember, Trey Diggs and Deron Bland both led the league in interceptions. When Al Harris was there, magically the Cowboys do not have him there anymore. He's gone to Chicago, and they now have the 3 league leaders in interceptions. So those are just some names I would watch if the Jets were to make a move, at defensive coordinator.
You sold me on Jim Leonard, but by the way, Will, someone on YouTube, Jay Litt, had a great comment when you said his name. I mean, Jim Leonard right now would be an upgrade at safety based on what we have seen from the Jets. Again, how is it?
An upgrade at safety.
You would. Hey, don't sell yourself short. Will's a former Division I football player. But, I mean, Will, again, the turnover thing is just mind-boggling. To not have an interception 11 games into the year, to have one takeaway all year when the next closest teams in the league have at least 6. Cincinnati last night, they're awful on defense. They had 5 last night against Lamar and the Ravens. To me, it's just inexplicable. Is that on Wilkes, Glenn? Is that on the personnel? Bad luck? Like, what do you attribute the one turnover through 11 game stat to the most?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of everything. I think, first of all, it's a mentality you teach within your defense. I remember I asked Ashton Davis about this last year because he was the one guy over the last couple of years. Not saying he was a star player by any means, but he was the one guy I felt like he always came up with turnovers. I'm like, hey, man, look, why are you able to create turnovers and it doesn't seem like anybody else can? He's like, I just have a mentality that, the football's mine and I want to take risks and things like that. The Jets don't take risks. They're it's a very conservative, it's always, Jake, 4 rushers, 1 guy, whether it's a DB or a linebacker blitzes, and everybody else is kind of doing their thing. I feel like the scheme doesn't really put them in a great spot. From getting a turnovers perspective, I think it's what you're taught. I think as well, in the Saleh era, it was a very much bend, don't break mentality, and you kind of have to coach that out of folks if you want to be hyper-aggressive defense. That's why I just think, to me, it's, even in the New England game, Jake, it was kind of an encapsulation of why they don't create turnovers. Drake May throws up a deep ball. Quantez Stiggers plays it perfectly. Tony Adams plays it perfectly. And these guys collide, injure Quantez Stiggers, and Tony Adams drops the football. It's like you can't really make it up. So to me, I don't see the Jets enough, when running backs have the ball, trying to punch it out and taking risks there. Quincy does it sometimes. You've seen Sherwood do it from time to time, but they don't do enough of that. There's not enough, looking for a kind of a strip sack type of situation. So it also doesn't help when you don't have a lead. It's harder for pass rushers to pin their ears back. Quarterbacks don't, feel like they have to take as many risks. So it is a game flow situation as well. But to me, I think this comes down to you got to continue to get the right guys in the building from a scheme perspective that both want to try to cause turnovers and also teaching guys. I know it gets taught, but it's an emphasis on, to me, like we want it to be the high variance team. Jake, I thought this was going to happen. I thought the Jets were going to be a defense that was maybe middle of the pack in terms of total defense and things of that nature, but a team that took the football away a ton, a lot of sacks, a lot of big game-changing plays. That's why I thought they could be a team that could be a little bit spunky. And unfortunately, they've kind of been the solid defense just with less talent, and they don't turn the football over, which is the direct opposite of what you want when you have a Justin Fields-led team.
No doubt. Will Parkinson with us here. He's the host of the Turn on the Jets podcast, part of the Badlands Podcast Network. Will, as far as Darren Muji goes, the one positive I could point to this year from a Jet perspective is that I think the in-season trades that Muji has made, not even talking about the haul they got back in the Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner deals, but some of the throw-ins in those trades, being able to get John Mechie, being able to get A.D. Mitchell, being able to get Jawan Briggs and Harrison Phillips over the summer, the Brownlee move in late September helping the secondary, they've all really worked out, and that has been impressive because they have not given up really anything to get some of those guys I just mentioned. Your thoughts on what that means and just your general thoughts on Jets GM Darren Muji, who works in a tandem with Glenn, but ultimately, if the Jets are going to try and get their quarterback, there's a good chance they might have to trade up, and this is the GM that's going to be on the phone with other teams trying to make those deals.
Yeah, they've done a really good job. But I think they treat this year as year zero, and I think people, again, we can talk a lot about the verbiage that kind of came out of the building, starting from the combine, probably through the beginning of training camp, where trying to get everyone excited and all those different things, and I get it, and clearly it was year zero in a lot of ways, meaning everyone was in an evaluation phase. So guys came in the spring, retained some of the holdovers and things like that because you want to see what those guys are. Are they part of our culture? They fit our scheme? Are they our guys type of situation? And, I think they got through the beginning of the summer and said, wow, we have a kicking problem. Like, these young guys are not going to be good enough, proactive. They went out and got Nick Folk. Nick Folk has been amazing. I think throughout camp, guys like Derek Nandi and Jake Coward and these other guys, not good enough at defensive tackle. And instead of just kind of something that I think really frustrated you, me, and many others during the Saleh era was we'd see a problem. We'd be like, wow, I don't understand why they're not addressing this. Like, safety's still an issue. Why is Tony Adams still playing? And again, he's a bad example because he quite literally is still playing, but they wouldn't make adjustments. And I think it was impressive for Darren Muji to go out and say, Harrison Phillips is still a really good run defender. He's going to give you not a ton of juice in the pass game, but man, he's top half of the league in run stops this year and really good leader. He's a culture guy. We'll take on a couple extra $1 million and we don't have to give up much. And same thing with Jawan Briggs has been a great find, Jake. He's probably the one, honestly, that's played the best over the course of this season. And he's a 22, 23-year-old guy. I think that's been a great move. Brownlee, again, shrewd move to get a guy they had some, good college tape and had some NFL tape on. So I like their approach of continuing to use day three assets where, frankly, day three in the draft this year was not their best moment. I think rounds 1 through 3 they hit. Malachi Moore is probably a serviceable to decent starter. The other three guys do not look great thus far. It's still time, but not the finest move. So, they have all this cap space, Jake. You can't sign everybody in free agency. That's just not how it works. Your co-host on Sundays did a really good job of this. Went after guys like Antonio Cromartie and Braylon Edwards and Chris Jenkins and Santonio Holmes and all these different guys was using day three picks and used their cap space to acquire really strong veterans that, for whatever reason, might be on the outs with their team. I'd like to see Darren Muji continue to do that, as well as add with those premium picks in free agency. So, yeah, it seems like the extensions did exactly what they wanted in a lot of ways, right? Garrett's been a star, and Sauce they extended, but they put it out in that contract. They could trade him, and they acquired 2 ones and A.D. Mitchell. So Muji's been good so far. The big test, Jake, as you mentioned, is going to be the next 12 months. How does he add during the free agency period? What extensions similar to guys like Brees, potentially Tittman, McDonald, Jermaine? Those guys are kind of be all in that quote-unquote extension conversation, Brees being the priority. And then, how's he handle the draft? Does he hit on quarterback? Because all this stuff is great, but the reason that everyone thinks Sean Payton turned everything around in Denver, they build up their roster, Jake. They hit on the quarterback, and whether you think Bo Nix is good or not, it doesn't matter. They win football games, right? So that's at the end of the day he's going to be judged on. But I like the progress he's shown as a guy who, first time in the chair, him and Glenn have done a good job from a not kind of resting on your laurels, because they shouldn't. They're 2-9, and making adjustments to try and get better and younger with this team.
This final question, Will, is depressing, but this is the life that we are currently living in as Jet fans. If the draft was today, and I know the order is going to change, the evaluations on these players is going to change a million times from now until late April when the draft actually is. But if the draft was today and the Jets right now are on the clock with the number 4 pick, what to you would be the move that Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn would be making with that selection?
Arch? No, I'm just kidding. No, I would say if it's gone to my head today, for lack of a better reference, I think Mendoza, if he doesn't, fall apart during the college football playoff and some of these bigger games, he'll likely go 1-1 in some capacity. So if the Jets, they put it for, I'll say they draft Carnell Tate out of Ohio State, Jake, and there's a bridge option to be had with a quarterback, and they've already addressed a veteran from some aspect, whether it's, I don't know, Mac Jones or Brock Purdy or Tanner McKee or Jacoby, someone in that ilk. And they address wide receiver and edge rusher, wide receiver and linebacker in round 1. And they build up the roster, and they use the 3 first-round picks in 2027. They're good enough. They win 7 or 8 games, and they show enough progress, but trade up for their guy in 2027. That's just gun to my head right now, but there's a good chance it could be a guy like Ty Simpson. Could be a guy, like Jaden Mayava in the back of round 1. There's a lot of options, but I don't know. Right now, I say they finish out the receiver room, and everyone gets excited about the weapons and offensive line for the next young quarterback.
That's interesting. I was not expecting that answer. I guess my follow-up on that before we wrap here, Will, is if the Jets do exactly that, right? They wait till 27 to get their quarterback. Are you sure that Glenn and Muji would be even here to make that selection in 27? Because say they finish with 4 wins this year, and the next year they're a little better. They go from 4 to 6 wins. That'd be 10 wins through 2 years. I know they have the picks, and they sold Woody on probably this plan to build up the team with all these picks they now have. But would they be guaranteed at that point the opportunity to even get their quarterback in 27? And then it's like, okay, you're in year 3, coach and GM, but the quarterback's in year 1. Do you have to win with a rookie quarterback, which is tough to do? Like, just the entire timeline of this regime, how does that potentially impact the Jets' thought process, whether to be aggressive this year for the quarterback versus waiting, as you outlined there, through 2027?
Yeah, I think they'd have to do such a good job of building up the roster and feel confident that, like, they really are a quarterback away. And I know people don't want to hear that, and I totally understand it, because people have heard that under Robert Saleh. They heard it under, pretty much every GM for the last 15 years. But, no, they'd have to do such a good job, Jake, and they'd have to show it. They'd have to feel like they can win. They could be a wild card team, with, I'm just using Brissett as the example. Obviously, I don't even know if he'll be on the move realistically. Like, keep me away from Kyler Murray. But yeah, I get I would get the concern. I guess my counter theoretically would be, if the Jets built up the roster so well and these guys still couldn't figure out how to win, wouldn't you be an attractive destination theoretically in a year's time with 3 first-round picks and still a ton of cap space? For the, I don't know, some reason someone, I don't know, like, I don't know who the name is, but that guy shakes free, and Glenn shows, hey, like, even with all this talent, I can't figure it out. So, I would understand that, and it'd be risky. It'd be pretty ballsy if you're Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji to punt on quarterback again. But unless they love one of these guys, and they're like full bloom in love, as Don, LaGreca and Michael Kay like to say, do not force it. If they do, and they love one of these quarterbacks, it's Mendoza, Simpson, Mayava, Dante Moore comes out, and Arch Manning comes. It doesn't matter. If they love one of those guys, take them and go for it and build the rest of the roster. But if they don't, I don't want to see them force it and get themselves in a situation where, everyone's convincing themselves, in this Carolina situation where, like, Bryce Young's not very good. but we're going to continue to talk ourselves into it because we give up all these assets. I just don't want to be in that situation, Jake.
Will, always appreciate your time. Great job, and I know you're going to be at MetLife Sunday. You go to basically every game, so I hope the weather's not miserable and you actually watch an entertaining game between the Jets and the Falcons.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody on set, and enjoy, and we'll talk soon.
Will Parkinson at WillPaw11 on X if you want to follow him there, host of the Turn on the Jets podcast. I think to Will's point, he's right. You don't take a quarterback unless you love someone. I just find it hard to believe the Jets, with all these picks, aren't going to be highly tempted to fall in love with one of these quarterbacks. Maybe it won't be, Dave Gettleman full bloom love like he was with Daniel Jones, right? That's the quote that Will referenced that Michael and Don always bring up. But I don't know if they could afford to wait till 2027. If the Jets finish 4-13 this year, and then they follow that up with a 6-win season, let's say, in 2026, 10 wins through 2 years, Aaron Glenn going into year 3, is he getting a crack at a year 3 automatically? You're going to let him then oversee the quarterback selection? I'm not so sure. It's why I think they got to do it this year. I think they made the trades with Quinnen and Sauce and loaded up on these picks because they told Woody Johnson, we're going to get our quarterback for you this offseason. I think that's their plan. And that's why I understand why there's a lot of Jet fans who don't want to see wins. Because you could easily argue the best thing for the Jets to do is to lose games, get a better pick, and even if you have to trade up, it's less you're giving up from this war chest of assets you now have to get the quarterback you want. And by the way, if the Jets take a quarterback this year, they could do it again in 27. The Cardinals did it. Steve Wilkes got fired with Josh Rosen. They took Kyler Murray. Like, I'm at a point now where I've seen the Jets actually have talented teams and they still can't win because they don't have the quarterback. Take a quarterback every year till you have someone. Joe Leo, you're a Jet fan. If the Jets said, we're taking a quarterback this year, that guy stinks, new regime comes in 27, they take another quarterback, you're going to be that upset? No, right? I mean, we're at a point now where take the quarterback till you get a quarterback is how I look at it.
I'm apathetic to this whole thing. I'm not huge on Mendoza. I would love for like an Arch Manning dream scenario, but I know that that's not realistic. I'm not huge on this class. I know this is not popular, but I would punt on taking a quarterback this year.
So you want to suck next year?
And roll the dice. You don't need to suck next year. You could, get a journeyman quarterback.
Who? We tried that with Justin Fields. He couldn't play. Who's out there?
Jacoby Brissett.
He's under contract for another year. I mean, you're going to have to trade for assets for him.
We traded a 6th-round pick for Joe Flacco once upon a time.
I mean, honestly, Joe Flacco would be like, Tom Brady compared to Justin Fields.
Reunion with Flacco. Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Mac Jones, if he became a Jet, every Jet fan that is listening knows this is so true. Mac Jones would stink with the Jets. There's no scenario where that guy would be good here.
But
I
want one of these guys who I know what the floor is, and the floor is okay. I don't want to roll the dice again because I don't believe anybody in this organization has the IQ to get a quarterback right. And I don't think Tanner Engstrom has the ability to, improve this offense with a rookie quarterback.
I'm not as down on Engstrom as you are. I think he's got to improve in short yardage. Like, watch the Chiefs yesterday, one of their 4th and 1s they ran where they were out of like a pistol set, play action, had like a guy leaking off to the right. Like, there's just so much more creativity when you watch all these teams around the league than what we've seen from the Jets for so long. So I'm with you. I think Engstrom at times is scheming guys open, and then the quarterback plays terrible, or someone misses an assignment, or Fields is holding onto the ball too long. Like, there's guys, I think, getting open, which is encouraging because it's not like the Jets have this elite unit. But, I mean, look, that's the big concern. Because you could get the quarterback right, as we've seen in Jet history, but the coaching could be so bad that guy doesn't have a chance.
That's the other thing, too. Do we know if Glenn – I have liked what I've seen from Glenn over the past 2 weeks, but are we sure that Glenn's the coach?
Are you concerned? So Ty Butler and I did the morning show yesterday on Turkey Day. Are you concerned that Aaron Glenn, when trying to quote this?
Hello? You play to win the game.
He actually said this.
You play the game to win.
Are you concerned that he did not get the quote correct from the great Herm Edwards?
I'll have to ask Rich about that.
Well played. Well played. By the way, I gave Samiti and Jordan the day off. I know they normally join on Friday. This is a selfish decision, but I'm on the air Sunday with Mike Tannenbaum, New York Game Day, 8 to noon every week, and we have Rich and Jordan join us on that show. So I said, you know what? Let them enjoy their Black Fridays. They don't need to talk about a 2-9 and 2-10 football team on Black Friday. Let them get a pass for the day. So appreciate Will Parkinson there joining us. 800-919-3776. A lot still to talk about here. Now, I received a text. I'm going to lift the curtain from Harvey Cruz. I believe the liner that you were referring to is the Jet Report brought to you by Bet365. And that was indeed the Jet Report. Now, as far as the Giant Report aspect, brought to you by Bet365. We hit on this earlier. For those just waking up, maybe missed the news yesterday, Jackson Dart has, in fact, been cleared from concussion protocol. So he is in line to start Monday night against the New England Patriots. And, again, for Giants fans who don't want Dart to play, I don't quite understand that one. Because I think Jackson Dart, he needs to go out there and he needs to get the growing pains out of the way now, so you hopefully with better coaching next year and more talent infused into your roster, you could hit the ground running. Right? If you hire, this year's version of Mike Vrabel, let's say it's Mike McCarthy, coach with experience that's had success, the hope would be that Dart gets the growing pains out now, learns from his mistakes, gets better in the offseason, and then could take that year 2 rookie leap like what Drake May, for example, is doing. I think that in a perfect scenario for the Giants is what you're looking at. We'll talk more about the Giant coaching search in the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, who's ready for Around the League on a Football Friday? Ladies and gentlemen, ATL, hit it.
It's time to go around the league.
All right, let's talk about some actual football. None of these, oh, well, you tanked for this guy. How about that guy? Let's lose again next year. No. Let's talk about some actual football teams. Starting today, Bears 8-3 in Philly against the Eagles 8-3. Eagles coming off a loss to the Cowboys last week. 12-8 in games coming off a loss under Nick Sirianni since 2021. However, what's happened to Saquon Barkley? 22 rushing yards last week in Dallas, his fewest as an Eagle. 3.7 yards per rush this season. That ranks him 36 out of 44 qualified running backs. And just 2.1 yards per rush on runs up the middle. The Bears, 5 wins after trailing in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, tied for the most since the merger. And they're 6-1 in one-score games this season, best in the league. 24 takeaways, also best, along with 16 interceptions. Jake, the Eagles, favored by a touchdown. How do you like it?
I like Philly here, but I will say this. The Barkley thing is fascinating, right? This is the guy that last year ran for over 2,000 yards. He was unbelievable. And this year he hasn't been close to the same player. Is that because of age, wear and tear? Is it because the Eagles' O-line's not as good? They've had issues with the play caller adjusting to the new role after Kellen Moore left to become a head coach in New Orleans. I don't know. It's amazing. For all the drama surrounding the Eagles, man, wouldn't we love to be them if you're a Jet or a Giant fan. And it's why I do think Philly will win today. I think they will bounce back. I'm not completely sold yet on the Bears. They are an 8-3 team with a negative point differential. They are so dependent on forcing turnovers, and they're the best team in the league at doing that. But the Eagles don't turn the ball over a lot. So if the Eagles take care of the ball, I think Philadelphia is the better team. They're at home. I think they win. Will they cover, though? That's the big question. I waver back and forth on this. I'll make some picks later on in the show. I probably would lean taking Philly, and I'll lay the 7. But this could be a close game. Chicago, the one thing they do always seem to do is they're in tight one-score games. That's why they're 8-3. They're 6-1 in one-score games this year.
Speaking of taking care of the football, how about the 1 o'clock slate, starting with the 8-4 Niners in Cleveland? How about Myles Garrett? Chasing the sack record, my friends. 18 sacks this season. He's got 14 in his last 5. The most sacks in a 5-game span since 1982. Denzel Ward practiced in full Thursday. Jerome Ford was limited with a hamstring. David Njoku limited with a knee. But if you looked at on Monday Night Football, Brock Purdy did not look good. Jake, the Browns are favored by 4.5, but will Brock Purdy look any better than he did against Carolina last Monday?
Quick adjustment. San Fran is favored by 4.5. You told me the Browns were favored.
What did I say? What is wrong with me?
You said I would have ran to the sports book and put a hefty sum getting points with the Niners here. I'm fascinated, not even by Garrett in this game. Shedeur Sanders, second start. Right? Like last week, I think we made way too much of his performance against the Raiders. The Raiders stink. They might be the worst team in the league. It's either them or the Titans, in my opinion. What does Shedeur look like? I think if you're a Jet fan listening, oh, by the way, hope the Browns continue to play well with Shedeur and win games. The more games they win, the less likely it is that they will take a quarterback, and that helps the Jets. So I am all in on Cleveland winning this game. I don't think they will, though. I think Salah's defense in San Fran will force some takeaways, and the Niners will win. Before we continue around the league, I want to let everyone know that you're listening to DiPietro and Rothenberg on WHSQ, WCBS FM HD2, New York.
What a professional. How about this Thursday night game on a Sunday? Jaguars 7-4 at the Tennessee Titans 1-10. Jaguars 4-0 straight up as a favorite this season, the most wins without a loss in the league. But Trevor Lawrence, as you mentioned, Jake, most overrated player in the NFL, I believe you said. Season high 3 interceptions against the Cardinals last week. He's got 11 on the season. That is third most in the NFL. Jaguars allowing 83.8 rushing yards per game this season, the fewest of any team. But the Titans are averaging 77.5 rushing yards per game, the fewest in the league. Cam Ward having a rough go of it, sacked a league-high 45 times.
That's enough on this game. Does anyone care? Jacksonville's going to beat the Tennessee Titans. The Titans stink. I hope the Titans win. It helped the Jets and the Tankathon standings. But, Harvey, you put way too much energy on Black Friday here into Jaguars-Titans. This game stinks. Jaguars will win. Trevor Lawrence remains overrated.
If I'm nothing else, I am a salesman, right? And I'm selling you these games.
I will not watch a minute of this game other than when Red Zone pans to it on one of my TVs on Sunday.
I understand. Well, how about this game? Texans 6-5 in Indianapolis against the Colts 8-3.
Now, this is a good game.
Colts 6-0 at home this season, one of two teams unbeaten at home. Also, 94 point differential at home, best in the sport. But Daniel Jones, how about this? Daniel Jones with a 29.2 total QBR since week 9. He ranks 30th out of 33 quarterbacks in that span. And the Texans have won 3 straight after starting 3-5. But how about this? As you mentioned earlier in the show, Jake, Daniel Jones with a fibula. What's up with that fibula, Daniel Jones?
Yeah, it was just something that kind of hanging over and realized it last week. And yeah, just been trying to get treatment and make sure I'm in the best spot I can be.
From the Atlanta game or something, you don't really know what the origination of it was?
Yeah, I think it's just something I felt last week and tough to say exactly when, but yeah, something I felt last week I looked at and been really good working with the trainers here and making sure we're ready to go, got a good plan.
Everyone's asking, is Daniel Jones okay? Is he okay? Can you assure some of these Colts fans that you're good to go and you're fine, ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all good. I'll be ready to go on Sunday. Obviously, was out there last week. I'm good to go.
Colts favored by 3.5.
Man, let me say this. One, every time I hear Daniel Jones talk, again, I still can't get over the fact he literally is Eli Manning reincarnated. Same exact cadence, tone, all that. And two, I'm not rooting for injuries. And I like Daniel Jones as a human being. But if he's banged up or if he starts to regress back to the version we saw with the Giants for most of his time here, God, is that great news for the Jets who own their first-round pick this year and next year. So we'll see. I brought this up earlier. A lot of parity in the AFC. The 6-5 Texans who will start Davis Mills again because C.J. Stroud still is in concussion protocol, which this is now 4 weeks. You're starting to get a little concerned there. The fact that the Texans have 2 games left with the Colts, Jacksonville's got 2 games left with the Colts, Indianapolis at 8-3 is not a lock to necessarily win that division. This is a huge game in the AFC South on Sunday.
I'll be quick with this one. Saints 2-9 at the Dolphins 4-7. The Ricky Williams Bowl.
Oh yeah,
as some would like to say. Saints 2-9, worst 11-game start since 1999. And get this, Tyler Shaw would join Archie Manning as the only Saints quarterbacks to win multiple starts in their rookie season. Dolphins favored by 6. Apparently, there's a road to a plus 500 record for the Dolphins. Are we kidding?
The Dolphins have been a lot better of late. I expect them to win, but I hope the Saints do win, if that makes sense. I want Chuck to play well, and I want New Orleans to be picking behind the Jets, because right now you look at the Tankathon standings. Yes, this is where I'm at. Tennessee 1, they don't need a quarterback. Giants 2, they don't need a quarterback. New Orleans 3, they do. Jets 4, they do. Vegas 5, they do. So if you're a Jet fan out there, you should be rooting for the Saints, and you should be rooting for the Las Vegas Raiders. the rest of the way because those are the most obvious quarterback-needing teams.
Jets, Falcons, good luck with that one. This is a game for all the sickos. I'll just say one note about this. Jets looking to avoid a 6 straight 10-loss season, which would tie the third longest streak in the Super Bowl era. All right, the Bruce Arians Bowl, Cardinals 3-8 at the Buccaneers 6-5. The Buccaneers have lost 3 straight following their Week 9 bye. But get this, Jake.
Yes, Harvey.
Are you ready for Teddy Bridgewater against Jacoby Brissett?
Oh, I'm ready. You throw out the records when Teddy Bridgewater and Jacoby Brissett match up against one another. God, the amount of backup quarterbacks that are playing in the NFL this year, it's unbelievable. Like every team's quarterback, it feels like, has missed at least a game due to injury this year. At least it feels that way. Look, Arizona, they should have won last week against Jacksonville. That was a crazy game. Baker Mayfield being out, let's see how long he's out. Tampa should win. Tampa has to win. You look at that division, by the way. They're 6-5. Carolina's 6-6. Atlanta, they're still hanging around. We'll see if they beat the Jets Sunday. They're 4-7. Remember, Tampa was 5-1. They've fallen apart here, so they got to get back on track just to win that division. I expect Teddy Bridgewater to play competently enough to get that win at home.
Buccaneers, you mentioned, have a half-game lead over this team, though. Carolina Panthers, 6-6, who host the 9-2 Rams. 6 straight wins for the Rams, which is their second longest win streak under Sean McVay. How about Matthew Stafford? 25 passing touchdowns, 0 picks in his last 8 games. 27 straight passing touchdowns without an interception since the first half against the Eagles in Week 3. And the Panthers are 4-1 following a loss this season, best record in the league. But how about this, Jake? The Rams are favored by 10.
Man, I almost want to take the Panthers getting points because, as you brought up, they've been good in this spot. The Rams are the best team in the league to me right now, though. I think if I had an MVP vote, Matthew Stafford would get it. 9-2, they're playing great. I mean, Stafford this year, 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The only reason why my fantasy football team is not, the worst team in the league and I actually have a chance to make the playoffs is because I picked up Matthew Stafford in Week 4. My quarterbacks were Justin Fields and Kyler Murray. I added Stafford, and every week he gets me 25 points. He throws 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's been unbelievable. So I like the Rams in this spot, but I do think Carolina is a team that could cover here.
405, the Sam Darnold, Percy Harvin, Steve Hutchinson Bowl for those taking count. Vikings 4-7 at the Seahawks 8-3. Sam Darnold 8-3 as a starter, and the Seahawks have won 5 of the last 6, whereas the Vikings have flipped it to losing 5 of their last 6. Jackson Smith and Jugba is already the Seahawks franchise record in receiving yards with 1,313. He's got at least 75 receiving yards in 11 straight games. But flip it over to the Vikings, where J.J. McCarthy, who was listed at practice with being concussion protocol, and if he can't go, then you will have undrafted free agent Max Brosmer taking his first start. Christian Darrisaw also limited in practice with a knee and foot problem. Jake, the Seahawks are favored by 11.5.
A little trivia for you, Harvey. Where did Max Brosmer go to college?
Minnesota.
Max Brosmer went to college in Minnesota. That is correct. Well, he started it at New Hampshire, then transferred to the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
I'm taking it.
That's Dave in training right there.
Well done. Well done. Look, Sam Darnold, revenge game. Let's accentuate that. He wants to stick it to the Vikings. They didn't believe in him. They thought this baby J.J. McCarthy was a better option. He can't even complete a pass, to quote Woody Johnson. He's been terrible. And the Vikings, that magical season they had last year, the entire NFC North has underwhelmed this year. A lot of mediocrity. The Bears are 8-3, but we talked about some of the fool's gold nature of their record potentially. And then here are the Vikings losing 5 of their last 6. I expect a big bounce back from Seattle here. I expect Darnold to play well against his old team, and Seattle to win and cover.
This week's Fraud Bowl is the Bills 7-4 in Pittsburgh against the Steelers 6-5, 4:25 Eastern. The Bills 3 straight games with 3 turnovers. Josh Allen 3 straight games with a pick. The Steelers have allowed 30 points 5 separate times this season. That is tied for the most in a season under Mike Tomlin. They have not allowed 30 points in 6 games this season since 2002. Aaron Rodgers still dealing with that wrist injury.
He's going to play. I'd be surprised if he's not back out there, right?
Hey, who knows? It could be Mason Rudolph again. The Bills favored by 3.5. But Jake, who needs to win this game more?
Ooh. You know, I think because the Ravens are scuffling right now, Pittsburgh could afford another loss. They'd have the same record as Baltimore if they do. The Bills right now, they kind of need a win because the temperature around their team is the most amount of heat I think Sean McDermott has faced since he's been, the head coach over there. Like, I don't think his job is necessarily safe if they flame out here. Their schedule coming up, by the way, at Pittsburgh, home against Cincinnati, at New England. So, the Bills had this easy schedule at the beginning of the year. Now, anytime they played a good team this year, other than the Chiefs, they really haven't done too well. Even the Tampa win doesn't look as good now since Tampa struggled of late with all their injuries. I think Buffalo needs the game more. They're coming in off a brutal loss where Josh Allen got sacked, 8 times against the Texans? Had a couple turnovers, as you brought up, Harvey. I think it's a bigger game for the Bills, but Pittsburgh at home, Mike Tomlin as an underdog, it's like almost an auto bet if you're a gambler. So I like Pittsburgh in this spot, getting the 3.5 points.
Another game for sick people. Raiders 2-9 in Los Angeles against the Chargers 7-4. Raiders 2-9 for the second consecutive season. Would be the second time in franchise history starting consecutive seasons of 2-10 or worse. Should they lose? Pete Carroll on pace for his worst season as a head coach, either in the pros or in college. Geno Smith 13 interceptions on the year. That is tied for the most with Tua Tagovailoa. And his 29 QBR this season is tied for the second worst among qualified QBs. Ashton Genty averaging 3.6 yards per rush. Chargers have won 3 straight against the Raiders. Chargers minus 8.5.
The Chargers should easily win this. I am fascinated to see what the Raiders look like without Chip Kelly. What a colossal failure that hire was, huh? Didn't they make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league? They fired him 11 games into his first year. Unbelievable. Does Chip Kelly, by the way, get a college head coaching job with all the openings that are out there?
Wasn't he at UCLA at one point in time?
He was, and he didn't do well there, ultimately. But he was great at Oregon back in the day.
Take over for Lane Kiffin if he goes somewhere else?
Ooh. That's interesting. Not a bad suggestion there by Joe Leo. I just don't know if Chip Kelly has the same appeal to college programs as he once did, but I could be wrong. Raiders stink. Yeah, Penn State, they want Chip Kelly. A lot of Eagles fans are Penn State fans. They'd be miserable with that one. Raiders, they might be the worst team in the league. Honestly, I'm shocked how bad it's been. And with Pete Carroll's age and the fact they're clearly headed for a rebuild, could Pete Carroll be one and done in Vegas? Wouldn't shock me.
Sunday Night Football. Broncos 9-2 at the Commanders 3-8. The Mike Shanahan Bowl, as I like to
say. This game, I'm going to quote Peter Rosenberg because this is his team. This is a repugnant game. Commanders 3-8. Why are they playing on Sunday Night Football against Denver? We couldn't flex out of this one. There was no way to change this game. I get it. Turkey Day, Black Friday. Maybe there's just not enough inventory, but we couldn't flex one of these games in the early slate and replace it.
Take your pick. You're Roger Goodell for right now. What are you shifting into the 8?
Texans Colts should be on Sunday Night Football over.
I like that.
The Broncos and the Commies.
I agree.
CBS is obviously going to protect Bills Steelers, so you can't pick that one. Honestly, Rams Panthers is a better game, right? The Panthers are 6-6.
We need the Panthers in prime time and back-to-back weeks.
We don't need it, but we might be better off for it. It will probably be a better game than the Commies 3-8 against the 9-2 Broncos. Am I wrong?
I've seen enough of the Panthers for 2025.
I'm not. Look, I saw the Panthers in person this year too. That was the one Jets game I went to. You were there. Oh yeah, that's right.
We were on the train together.
I saw you on the train. Yeah. After that, a wonderful performance by our beloved New York Jets. Good Lord. Yeah, not a good Sunday night game. Maybe Monday night will be better. The G-Men are playing on it. Yeah.
Giants 2-10, Pats 10-2. Get this, Jake. So this is the Patriots' first Monday Night Football game since Week 14, 2022, in Arizona. You know, it's funny. We've been seeing the Giants stink it up in prime time, and we've seen none of the Patriots. I'm not sure why. But, and I don't know if you've heard this, but Don had the Giants as his 3-point play to cover the 7.
I believe with Dart back, they can make this a real game. If you look at New England, the Jets were in that game for a half against them. If Justin Fields was just competent that night, they had a legitimate chance to hang around, similar to what the Jets just did with Tyrod against the Ravens, for example. If it's 7.5, I love the Giants. I like them at 7. I've seen the line move each way. Dart playing, other than, I guess, the second Eagles game, in Dart's starts, they have not been blown out in any of these games. They really haven't. So I think the Giants could definitely cover the number with Jackson Dart clearing the protocol and playing in that game.
That is around the league, and we have gone around it.
We've done it. We have done it. Hey, how about a football frenzy on a football Friday? All right? Load it up. 800-919-3776. You also could tweet me at Jake Asman on X. YouTube, I'll read some of the comments frenzy-wise as well. Let's load up a little football frenzy. Then Bobby Skinner, from the who is one of the biggest Giants voices out there, is going to be joining us, get his thoughts on everything going on with Big Blue, from the coaching search, the GM situation with Shane, and much more. He's the host of the Giants Nation show, which Jordan Renan is a part of as well. So keep it right here. Football frenzy coming up next. Going to talk some baseball on the show as well. A lot to do. Jake Asman in for Rick and Dave. It's Black Friday. It's DNR with you till 10 a.m. on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Snacks, your slate, and FanDuel is coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop, and now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel is bringing the bonus. That's right. Now all customers get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play a game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sunday should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Rick to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. Now all customers get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. Must be 21 and older and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions do apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467369.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
The fall savings event continues this November at Bay Ridge Mazda. Lease the 2025 Mazda CX-30S for as low as $169 per month, or the 2025 Mazda CX-5 Select for as low as $229 per month, and get as low as 0.9% APR financing rates on select models. Plus, enjoy 1 year complimentary of Bay Ridge Plus benefits like ding and dent coverage, key replacement, windshield protection, and roadside assistance. Visit them in Brooklyn or online at BayRidgeMazda.com. Bay Ridge Mazda, where confidence comes standard. See dealer for details. Hey, it's Michael K. talking to you about my friends at PC Richard & Son. They're local, family-owned, and I trust them, and you can too. Right now, get Black Friday deals throughout the store. And with their holiday price guarantee, your price is protected. If the price goes lower from now through December 24th, they will match it. You can't beat it. Plus, you get fast and free delivery. PC Richard & Son, the company you can trust for over 116 years. Free delivery excludes Manhattan.
It's time for a frenzy. A football frenzy.
You could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough. It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
A football frenzy. Any team, any player, any question.
Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick. It's a football frenzy. You know the rules. You call in right now at 800-919-3776. And you call in with the question that you want addressed. Don't ask us how we're doing. We're all doing great. Don't ask us how Thanksgiving was. It was tremendous. Don't ask us if we're going to eat leftovers. You know we are. Get to your point. I'm also going to feature my two esteemed producers in the football frenzy portion of the program. So you guys better be prepared, both Joe Leo and Harvey Cruz, with a frenzy-related question. And you can also reach me on X at Jake Asman with your football frenzy-related question, plus the YouTube chat as well. I'll start with the YouTube because I'm a fellow YouTuber, and shout out to the 200-something people watching live right now on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. We'll start with this one from Purple Belt Mike. Frenzy. Will the Jets have to trade 3 premium assets because they mess up the tank versus the Saints? Or will they be unable to trade for their guy because the Saints, Browns, and Raiders will be ahead of them? A very depressing question from PBM. I think the Jets are going to have to trade up for their quarterback. I don't think they're going to have to trade 3 premium assets necessarily. I think it's going to cost them, obviously, their own first-round pick that they'll be using in the swap. I think it will likely cost them at least 1 additional first-round pick. Let's say it's the Colts pick, which right now would be pick 28. And then I think it could cost the Jets a pick in 2027, right? Maybe it's one of the 2s this year, and then you set yourself up in 27 and have 3 1s and still have a second and a third-round pick at that point. To me, the Jets, they have so many assets, I don't think it's going to cost them, let's say, 5 of them just to move up from 4 to 1 or 5 to 2. I still think the Jets are going to finish with a couple more wins and be picking in the 4 to 7 range. Now, if they lose, I'm not going to sit here and be that upset because, as we've talked about, unfortunately, the more losses means the likelihood of less having to potentially trade away in a haul. But I think they're going to get their quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and say the Jets are going to get jumped and not get someone. I think the Jets are going to be ultra aggressive. I think that was part of the reason why they made the trade. Frenzy from Josh on YouTube. After these last few weeks, where do you rank Dak in the quarterback conversation? I've always been a Dak fan. I think he gets unnecessary hate because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's tough not only being the Cowboys quarterback, but having Jerry Jones as your owner. Dak Prescott, when healthy, to me, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. Now, is he closer to like the 8 to 10 range than he is the 5 to 1 range? Sure. But I think Dak has shown you in his career, at least in the regular season, that he's a top 10 quarterback. He's come in second in MVP voting before. He's a really good player. He was excellent yesterday. I think Dak's a top 10 quarterback in the league. And look, the quarterback power rankings, I think it fluctuates a lot, especially now more than ever with some of the injuries that you've seen to a guy like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen not having his best year. And Mahomes' team right now is 6-6. Yeah, the teams in the AFC with the best records have Drake May in year 2 and Bo Nix in year 2 quarterbacking them. So it's been an odd year. I'm still taking Mahomes before anyone else based on his track record, age, and the fact he's won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. But I feel like the top 10 conversation at quarterback has never been more fluid. And wouldn't it be nice if a year from now we can have the conversation about Dart or whoever the Jets have potentially being that level of player? Wouldn't that be nice? I wouldn't count on it. Would not count on it. Frenzy from Jalen again, 800-919-3776 for anyone who wants in on the conversation. Instead of eating a first-rounder on somebody overvalued, should the Jets wait till day 3 of the draft to find a diamond in the rough at quarterback? If the Jets wait till day 3 in the draft to find a quarterback, I don't know if I can watch them next year. I don't. They need to get someone early. The latest they could pick a quarterback is the second round. So at least you could get out of that after a year and do it again in 27 with more picks, if that's their plan. If they don't like any of these players or they can't get whichever one they want, waiting till day 3 for a diamond in the rough. We've tried this as Jet fans, have we not? Christian Hackenberg was a second rounder. Bryce Petty, Greg McElroy, Taj Boyd, James Morgan. All right, I'm good on waiting. I really am. Jordan Travis, who couldn't even stay healthy. I never even played for them. I'm good. I do not want the diamond in the rough. If the Jets took a quarterback in round 1 and they did what the Redskins did with the RG3 and Kirk Cousins in the same draft, fine. I have no issue with that. But you cannot wait till day 3 for your quarterback. All right, this next one is on X from @StupidGiantsFan. If the Giants could have their pick of any head coach, who would you pick? My answer right now, and I'll be realistic, I'm not going to say, get Sean McVay, right? I'll give you a legit option. I think Mike McCarthy makes the most sense. I do. I think the Giants got to look at it like we have been in hell as a football organization. We need someone who could raise our floor. Is McCarthy going to win a Super Bowl? I mean, probably not. No head coach has ever won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams, right? Parcells couldn't even do it. But I think the Giants need to stop hiring first-timers and expecting them to be good at the job. It's really hard to do. There's an unknown there. And McCarthy, if he could win with Jerry Jones in Dallas, he won 12 games or more 3 times in 5 years. I think with with Jackson Dart already in place, some talent on this team, I trust McCarthy to hire a good coaching staff. I think that Mike McCarthy would make a lot of sense for the Giants. It's a boring answer, but I think it's the right answer. I think the Giants need to be safe. Staying with the frenzy questions on X. This one is from Kawadi Joe P. I know your feelings on Shane, but what do you think the Giants will do at GM? I think it's going to be Shane. I still think it's going to be Joe Shane until he's not the general manager anymore. Don't you got to bet on him being the general manager? The one thing that could change things is, a proven coaching candidate refuses to take the job with Shane as the GM. But I don't get the sense that's going to happen necessarily. I don't think Mike McCarthy's going to come in and say, nope, no way, I'm working with Joe Shane. I think he wants back in, and he'll look at the Giants roster and say, you know what, they got a quarterback. That matters to me. We got a chance. The division's winnable. Right? The Eagles have fallen back down to earth. Washington's in flux right now. The Cowboys are up and down always. I think the Giant job with Shane is attractive for some candidates. I think the only way Shane wouldn't be the GM is if what happened in Jacksonville repeats itself, where you had candidates saying no to the job because of the incumbent GM and Trent Baalke. So the Jacksonville Jaguars ownership group fired the GM so they could hire Liam Cohen away from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Andrew Joseph on X. Has Mike Kafka done enough to be the head coach of the next few years? A good DC would complement his offensive mind as well. Has Mike Kafka done enough? Andrew, they're 0-2. What has Mike Kafka done so far? They've blown leads in the fourth quarter in both the games. I don't think he's done a bad job. He's obviously not, the defensive coordinator who he now fired. Let's see what the defense looks like without Shane Bowen. But has Mike Kafka done enough? No, he hasn't done anything. They haven't won. Don't you want to see what it looks like with Jackson Dart back? Does Dart play better down the stretch? Does he take better care of himself down the stretch? Those are the things you want to see. Does Jackson Dart go out there and avoid taking all these hits? You could argue Kafka could be brought back if the new head coach comes in and wants to value continuity and will offer Kafka a chance to be the OC. Would Kafka stay on? Maybe he would. Right when Rex took over the Jets, he retained Brian Schottenheimer. What a big win on Thanksgiving yesterday. You could see that happen. But no, has Mike Kafka has he done enough? He's done nothing. What has he done? He's fired the DC so far. That's been the most notable move Mike Kafka's made, where he benched Abdul Carter for a series because he slept through a walkthrough. Mike Kafka, has he done enough? He's done nothing. Has he done enough? Football Frenzy, DNR, Jake Asman, in for the guys. All right, I'm going to you, Joe Leo. Give me a Football Frenzy prompt right now.
More likely to make the playoffs, the Kansas City Chiefs or the Detroit Lions?
Ooh, this is an excellent question. I could tell you're a big-time producer, Joe Leo. Way to produce. Kansas City Chiefs are 6-6 right now. Their remaining schedule down the stretch. Houston, they're at home for that. Chargers, they're at home. At Tennessee, home Denver, at the Raiders. I still don't think it's crazy for the Kansas City Chiefs to go 4-1 down the stretch. But I don't know if that would be enough. They might need to run the table. Let me check the Lions schedule before I give you a final answer. My gut would be KC, but I will look at the Lions schedule to be fair. Cowboys on Thursday, at Rams, home Steelers, at Vikings, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs. Until I see Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid not in the playoffs together, they're going to find a way to make the playoffs. Kansas City's still my pick. I've been very unimpressed with the Lions. Their offensive line issues are real. When Goff's pressured, statistically, he becomes one of the worst, if not the worst, quarterback in the league, the numbers say. You saw that yesterday with Micah Parsons wrecking the game at times. Taking Kansas City. Who would you take, Joe Leo? I'm curious. It is an excellent question.
I'm with you. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm not betting against Mahomes. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Can't do it just yet. Yep.
Until he's not in the playoffs, I'm not betting against him.
Well done. Well done. All right. Harvey Cruz. Football Frenzy. Let it rip.
The Patriots and the Rams are the one seeds in their conference. Would it stay that way?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I believe the LA Rams are the best team in the NFL. I looked at New England's schedule down the stretch. Outside of playing the Giants, I just see a lot of wins for New England. And by the way, I'm not happy about this. I hate the Patriots with every fiber in my body. Like, it disgusts me that their rebuild was 2 years. They were literally bad for 2 years. Now they have a coach that the Jets should have hired after 2023. But no, Woody Johnson gave everyone a mulligan just to then fire Robert Saleh 5 games in to the following season. But I digress. It disgusts me that New England is in a spot where they're 10-2. They're scheduled down the stretch, though. Giants, Bills, who they already beat, and they're at home for that one. The Ravens, who are a mess right now. Jets and Dolphins again. So they're getting at least 3 more wins. That's 13 wins. I think they finish as the 1 seed. And I think the Rams will ultimately be the 1 seed in the NFC as well. So yes. Yes. And that disgusts me. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. That wraps it up for the football frenzy. A lot of fun. Coming up, more on the Giants. Bobby Skinner is going to be joining us. Who are they going to hire as their head coach? Is Joe Schoen actually safe? We'll talk more about that. Get back to your calls. Lots still to do. Football Friday, day after Thanksgiving. Jake Asman in for both Dave and Rick. It's DNR on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Right now, let's get to Debbie Duhame with today's traffic report.
Good morning, Jake. On this Black Friday morning, alternate side parking rules in effect. Lots of volume around Woodbury Commons right now on 32, 17, and 6, so do allow extra travel time heading out to shop today. Let's go out to the eastbound BQE stop-and-go traffic by Atlantic Avenue. It's an accident. Route 1 south of Plainfield Ave, an Edison accident with a down traffic signal. LIRR on a regular weekday schedule. Metro North on a Saturday schedule. New Jersey Transit on a weekend schedule. Sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADebZone.org. I'm Debbie Duhame on 880 ESPN New York.
Listen up, football fans. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown!
Yes!
Stay staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No!
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Caffeine doesn't have to be bitter or boring anymore. 5-Hour Energy shots are bringing the flavor and energy. One of my personal favorites, strawberry banana. It's giving smoothie vibes in a compact caffeinated shot. Whether you like your energy sour, fruity, or tropical, with 17 flavors, there's something for everyone. And yeah, it's got as much caffeine as a 12-ounce cup of coffee, but with zero sugar and no crash. Big flavor, tiny bottle, tasty caffeine done right. You can grab yours in-store or hit up 5hourenergy.com or order on Amazon today.
Introducing the new ESPN Fox One bundle. Unlock all of ESPN and all of Fox One with one unbeatable price. Catch the biggest games, college football, NBA, NHL, and more on ESPN. Stream your faves, Big Noon Saturday, the World Series, and NASCAR on Fox One. All for just $39.99 a month. That's 20% off. The ESPN Fox One bundle. Offer valid for eligible subscribers only. Access content from each service separately. Savings compared to purchasing both plans separately. See stream.espn.com for complete terms and conditions.
ESPN Bet is becoming the score bet this December. The same betting app you love, with a new look and promos curated just for you. Existing ESPN Bet customers don't have to change a thing. Your account, wallet, and bets will all remain the same. Plus, kick things off right now by logging in and claiming a 100% profit boost. More action, more rewards, more for you. The score bet coming this December. 21 plus, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Spike Dade, Security Dodge, Amazon Pickup, and ESPN New York.
Hi, it's Chuck Devine in Snow Country. Check off the wish list with instant savings and free battery offers on select steel tools. Shop online or in-store. The ski season's off to a very good start with multiple snowfalls throughout November at areas like Whiteface in the Adirondacks and Killington, Vermont. Some midweek showers before a cool down throughout Thanksgiving weekend. So we'll ski on firm groomed snow. Start your season with well-tuned, freshly sharpened skis. Whiteface in the Adirondacks, 14 trails, top to bottom skiing and riding for intermediates or better, and the Learning Center opens Saturday. Gore Mountain opens Friday, so does Bel Air in the Catskills and Jiminy in the Berkshires. In Vermont, Killington, 28 trails cover 15 miles. That includes novice skiing on Snowshed at Killington. Stratton opens Wednesday, Smuggler's Notch Friday. They'll ski throughout the Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
You don't just ski or ride, you dominate. At Killington, we fuel your adventure. Be the beast. Ski and ride Killington.
DNR on Black Friday. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick right here on ESPN New York. It's time right now for Game Time, which is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Rangers at the Bruins, 1 p.m. today. Devils at the Sabres, 4 p.m. Islanders hosting the Flyers, 4 p.m. I'll be in the building at UBS Arena for the first time this season. Nets versus the Sixers tonight at 7:30. Knicks versus the Bucks. That game's on Amazon Prime. Of course, you can listen to that on our air. That's at 7:30 at MSG. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cast matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. So let's talk about starters, right? The New York Giants will get their starting quarterback back on Monday night. Jackson Dart has cleared the concussion protocol. So for more on Dart and the state of the Giants, we say hello to Bobby Skinner, who is, of course, the host of Giants Nation show. You see Jordan Renan appear on that show all the time. Bobby has a huge following in the Giants community, and he knows his team as well as anyone. So, Bobby, appreciate you getting up early with us here on Black Friday. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
So Dart being cleared, I don't think it's a big surprise given the fact many people thought he was going to be cleared in time for last week. But your thoughts on him now passing the concussion protocol and what you hopefully see from him over these final few games here for the Giants?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, they were actually planning for him to be the starter last week before they, had the switch on, Thursday evening to go to Jameis Winston. What it'll be interesting to see is how Jackson Dart builds upon what he did in his first 7 games. I think there's one thing you saw, couple things you like with Jackson Dart. One, just the fact that he scored 17 touchdowns in 7 games. But it felt like he was adding parts to his game every single week, and things that he was struggling with, he was getting better at. So it'll be interesting to see Mike Kafka, who has ran such a run-heavy offense the first 2 games and used a lot of play action off of it, how he can operate an offense like that. And is he really going to take himself serious to avoid hits as much as he can?
That to me is the big thing, right? Like, can Dart, who on average has been hit 10-plus times a game in these starts and has been checked for a concussion 4 or 5 times already in limited action, can he take better care of himself? How do you think Kafka will try and balance some of the things Dart does really well with his legs with the design run plays versus obviously trying to take care of a quarterback that needs the experience and is coming off missing some time because of a concussion?
Yeah, I've said that, they will avoid running some at points because of, I remember Daniel Jones had an injury guarantee in his contract last year, and you figured they'd be a little more careful with it, but instead they were using him like a battering ram. But I think just from a PR standpoint, I do think Kafka will probably limit the design runs for Jackson Dart this week. But I think after this week, I think they're going to want to do it 3 to 4 times per game, or 3 to 5 times per game. The issue is simply, it's not even the design runs. I know he got hurt on one of those, but that was because he, landed on the ground funny after trying to get his own fumble. It's when he's in the open field, he puts his shoulder down into guys on purpose when he doesn't need to. That's, I think, the stuff he needs to avoid. And I think a bunch of coaches have tried to get that into him, and they just haven't been able to do it.
Bobby Skinner is our guest here on DNR. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick. Bobby's podcast, Giants Nation. You can check out wherever you get your podcast. The other big news this week, Bobby, with the Giants, was Shane Bowen being relieved of his duties as the DC. What does that move signify for the rest of the year? And just your thoughts on how we got to this point where now the head coach is gone and the DC that the head coach hired is now also out the door.
Yeah, I was really never a big fan of Shane Bowen. I will say I think some of his best stretch of calling games has been over the last 5 to 6 weeks when he really started coming under heat after, they lost to the Saints. But it doesn't matter when your run defense is as terrible as it is. The Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 carries for 170 yards in the game on Sunday, right? That's not a Shane Bowen issue. That's more of a, Giants' lack of talent on defense issue. And then with Paulson Adebo out, that's where they really struggled in the secondary, is having Deontay Banks and Corey Black out there. But it made sense to do. It was becoming toxic, and he was almost becoming a boogeyman for the New York Giants because, they had the 5 fourth-quarter leads that they lost. Two of them after Brian Dable being fired, and then that being a big reason cited for firing Brian Dable, but keeping the defensive coach. It felt like it was necessary for Mike Kafka for him to do his job the way he wanted to.
Do you expect the Giants defense to play better now? Like, how much of it is Bowen? How much of it is on the players? Just give us your thoughts on what is now realistic down the stretch here for this Giants defense.
Well, here's the thing: if they're going to play some of the weakest offenses on their schedule over the next month, the Patriots have been good, but they're missing Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, so they just lost the left side of their offensive line, and it's not like they're flush with talent. And then they play the Commanders, who are ranked 23rd, the Raiders, who are ranked 32nd, and then the Vikings, who are ranked 28th in offense. So they're coming up on a stretch of probably the worst offenses they've played all year long. So it should be a little better. What I'll be interested to see is how aggressive they get, because Charlie Boone comes from a Vance Joseph tree. Is he really going to try and do that in season with the Giants defense, or is he going to have kind of the same issues as Shane Bowen, where he doesn't really trust his defense to do some of those things?
Give us your thoughts on the job Mike Kafka has done so far, Bobby, and what are the chances at this point do you think he has to actually not be the intern but be the full-time head coach going forward?
I think him being the full-time head coach going forward, there's almost no chance of it. I think there's a good chance he comes back as the offensive coordinator, but I really think there's almost no chance he's the head coach in the New York Giants. You don't fire your head coach after almost 4 years and then just keep things the same. The Giants have already done that once when they fired Tom Coughlin and promoted Ben McAdoo. I think he's a good offensive mind. I think you've seen that over the last 4 years, even when the Giants' offense have had issues. It's been mostly personnel issues when those things arose, outside of last year when Mike Kafka wasn't calling the plays. But you see that there is just a very clear plan in place for every single thing that he does, right? The run heavy, let's get into the play action off of it. Let's add this new wrinkle to our offense for the week. So I think he's a good offensive mind, but I don't know if anyone can be sold on bringing back Mike Kafka as the head coach after we've won 5 games over the last 2 seasons and telling the fan base that the answer is actually inside the building.
Bobby Skinner is our guest. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick here on ESPN New York. You've been very outspoken about Joe Schoen, that you don't think he should be brought back as the general manager, and I've agreed listening to your podcast with basically everything you have said. What to you, though, is the Giants thinking and why they believe in Schoen seemingly to put in the statement when they fired Dable, hey, Joe Schoen's going to lead the coach search? Like, what are we and what are Giants fans not seeing that ownership is seeing in Joe Schoen?
We're not seeing the lowered standard the New York Giants have created for themselves, where, having some draft classes that you might like some of the players from and having some good players means being a good GM through 4 years. We're not seeing that they have computers in the building because the Giants lived in the Stone Age and they were last to the party, and it's, the quote The Sopranos, some people are so far behind that they think they're actually winning the race. I think we don't see how friendly he is with important people in the building. So I think that's what we don't see, because we all see the results. And the results are 5 wins in the last 2 seasons.
It's mind-boggling to me that that they could just rest on the fact, it's all been coaching and it's not a talent problem. I just don't quite get how Schoen has been able to basically sell ownership on that when, as you brought up, the record's the record, and the only year they had success, a lot of the key players were brought in by the previous GM, Dave Gettleman. So I don't get it.
Well, it's not, he just needs to find the perfect coach, which, it's not like they fought to keep Brian Daboll last year as the head coach and keep everything the same. The only thing they did was fire the DB coach and kept the defensive coordinator. So they clearly are great judges in coaching and what's working. So I'm sure they'll get this one right.
As far as the head coach search goes, Bobby, who is like the ideal candidate that the Giants should be considering? And do you value someone with previous head coaching experience, or would you be comfortable with another coordinator getting their first chance to be a head coach?
I would be open to somebody with head coaching experience. That's just a very limited pool that you're creating for yourself, and also that pool that you're creating for yourself is, tied to failure, because why aren't you still a head coach? There's always exceptions, right? Andy Reid comes free after 10 years. If John Harbaugh were to become free, get free, I would want to, jump all over that. But, I guess Mike McCarthy is people have kind of talked themselves into a bit, but I don't like that idea. I would like to try and find the next best head coach. I mean, the goal eventually is to find your head coach for the next 10 plus years and to win Super Bowls. It's not to win 9-10 games. And even then, I don't think hiring Mike McCarthy guarantees you victories. I know he's won a lot, but tell me what you think specifically about Mike McCarthy that leads to those victories. Or has he had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, Dak Prescott, and a very talented defense with the Dallas Cowboys? Not to say he's some terrible coach, but what has set him apart that makes him lead to those wins? And I don't think a lot of people have very many great answers besides the fact that he's won 10, 11 games a bunch of times.
If they do look to hire someone who's never been a head coach, do you prefer someone offensive-minded or defensive-minded? Give us your thoughts on that decision, because if Kafka sticks around, in theory, well, then maybe you could just hire the best coordinator candidate, even if that guy has to be a guy from a defensive background.
Yeah, I prefer offensive mind, but it's not a necessity, right? Like Chris Shula from the Rams, he piques my interest probably more than anybody outside of Clint Kubiak with the Seahawks when it comes to coordinators. So I prefer offensive minded if it's a tie, simply because defensive coaches who become great head coaches, they get rewarded with having their offensive coordinators plucked away every 2-3 years. So I prefer offensive, but that's kind of like a tie goes to the offensive coach thing.
Bobby, for you as someone who follows this team, rank just how painful basically the last couple of years have been, because it feels like there's like an entire generation of Giants fans now that like the last Super Bowl for some fans, like it's a very long time ago. And you talked earlier in this conversation about the Giants lowering their standards. Your thoughts on the overall state of the organization. Are the Giants still going to be looked at as like a top job given all the losing that has transpired and everything that they've gone through, especially the last couple of years?
I think they'll be looked at as a good job when you have Jackson Dart in place. He's looked really good as a rookie, and you have your left tackle taken care of, so you're not worried about your quarterback getting destroyed from the blind side. So there's some decent pieces here. So I don't view it as some type of like a job that people are going to avoid unless they have options and they don't want to work with Joe Schoen. Painful as far as the Giants years ago, it's become almost. I mean, you deal with the Jets a little bit. It's become kind of a joke where it's just every year. How long? What's going to be our biggest losing streak of the year? We're currently on 6 games in a row. Their best one was 4. Which was in the playoff year in 2022. So they just keep losing games in a row. So it's not even 8 and 9 season, and we're not getting the success we want. It's last year they lose 10 in a row. This year it's 6 in a row. So it's been frustrating. We want to get back to being a consistently at least decent team.
And it's amazing, too, because you look at the Cowboys playing well right now. The Eagles are the defending champs. Even the Commanders, I know they're having a bad season this year with the injuries, but they were in the championship game last year, and it just feels like the Giants now have their quarterback, getting the coaching higher. They could turn it around, but as you talk about on your podcast, Shane's sticking around. I just wonder, what type of influence that has on this franchise's ability to potentially turn it around, even if they, in theory, get the right coach that this fan base would want.
Right. Yeah, so and again, it's not impossible, I think, but that's what the Giants do. They tell themselves, well, this could go right, instead of looking, weighing the pros and cons of why something could go wrong. So, it could go right, but you just leave yourself vulnerable when you tie a head coach to a year 5 GM who hasn't had any success.
Bobby, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate you getting up and joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Bobby Skinner, host of the Giants Nation show, with us there. It's funny, I was reading some of the comments on YouTube during the conversation, and a lot of people in the YouTube chat saying that Bobby sounds like Jordan Renan, which I love, because I do see the similarities a little bit. And by the way, I'm doing some shows with Jordan next month when Dave and Rick are off. Christmas week, Jordan and I doing a bunch of shows together, filling in for the guys. So maybe we'll have Bobby on with Jordan and be able to hear them both at the same time and truly determine who is who. Maybe we'll do that. Or we'll talk about it and not do it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing later today, let alone a month from now or 3 weeks from now. So who knows? Good stuff there, though, from Bobby Skinner. We'll take a quick break, come back. Want to get to more of your calls. We'll reset, continue to talk about the Thanksgiving Day games. Also got some thoughts on the House Steinbrenner comments. I really want to just go off on them. We talked about them briefly yesterday. Ty Butler and I did. But more on that, more on both locals' off seasons. The hot stove that is not hot stoven to this point. We'll get much more into that as well. Keep it right here. Jake Asman with you till 10. It's Ty and Bart then. Till then, you got me on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
NFL Sunday's coming. You got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel is coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop, and now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Now all customers get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play a game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sunday should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Rick to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. Now all customers get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. Must be 21 and older and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions do apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467369.
Friends, it's football season, the best time of the year. You should be out there tailgating, cheering on your team, and enjoying every Sunday. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. You don't have to live like that. There's help. Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain is New Jersey's top pain specialist. He's Ivy League trained, double board certified, and is dedicated to helping you get back in the game. Here's what makes the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical image-guided procedures that deliver real results. Dr. Shaw treats neck pain, back pain, joint pain, migraines, nerve pain, and sciatica with a plan that's customized for you. Same-day and next-day appointments are available, and with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, relief is always close. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Visit SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Most major insurances are accepted. That's SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
This is Rick Brunson, the assistant coach from the New York Knicks. I'll be driving to our games this season in style in my new Jeep Gladiator from Princeton Jeep. My friends at Princeton Jeep gave me all-star treatment, and you can expect the same thing. Just mention I sent you, and they'll treat you like family. Princeton Jeep has tons of inventory and great deals on new vehicles. Visit Princeton Jeep at 1045 State Road in Princeton, New Jersey, or online at PrincetonJeeps.com and tell them Rick Brunson sent you.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
DNR on ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app. My uncle, who's listening, texted me a picture of his leftovers that he's eating while listening to the show. How about that? You want to know
what's the plate?
Steak and eggs. Because for those who heard the morning show yesterday, the Asman Wagner family, we do turkey and steak. Because I have long felt that if the Pilgrims could do it over, if they knew any better, they would have chosen steak as well instead of a dried turkey. So to everyone out there who's like, oh, I love turkey. No, you don't. You have it once a year. You pretend you like it. You don't. It's overrated. Not my favorite meat. As a meatsman, I'll tell you it's not a great meat. But fine, I digress. Have turkey. Also have steak. My uncle's enjoying some steak and eggs right now. Says he finished all the steak. So congratulations to Uncle Evan. And shout out to Angela. Did a great job preparing a ton of food yesterday at the Asman Wagner Thanksgiving feast. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Chuck in Glens Falls. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, Jake. Nice talking to you.
What's up, Chuck? Appreciate you calling in.
Yes. I just wanted to give a quick football hot take about the Jets. That the Jets lose out. At worst, they're going to be number 2, but most likely number 1. And everybody thinks they're going to get the quarterback with one, but they actually trade back.
So you think the Jets will finish in the top 2 and they're going to actually trade back instead of just taking one of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, because they're Swiss cheese and they have so many holes that need filling.
They do have a lot of holes, but their biggest hole by far is quarterback. And you know what a great quarterback could do? It could mask a lot of your deficiencies. Plus, they have $100 million in cap space to fill some of these holes you're talking about.
I know, but the easy take is always, they're going to get it. I'm just trying to think outside the box.
So, look, you said it's a hot take, so I won't criticize you, but I think it is a silly take, Chuck Wagon. Chuck in Glen Falls there. Here's the reason why. If you are in position to get one of the quarterbacks, you need to take one. Because there's no guarantee that next year you're going to be in a spot to get one. Now, if your argument is they somehow don't like any of these quarterbacks, or maybe at that point the Jets, they brought in a veteran quarterback that nobody has foreseen being available, then maybe. But if you did that, right, like the Joe Burrow scenario that has been discussed, you would have to trade that number 1 or number 2 pick in that deal because Cincinnati would need to get a quarterback to replace Burrow or Dak or whoever the veteran that's available, C.J. Stroud, whoever it is that you want to suggest. So I just don't see it. I would, again, be shocked if the Jets don't end up using their first-round pick on a quarterback. I think the only question is, are they trading up or are they in a spot where they don't need the move to get their guy? And it's why if they lose out and finish with a top 2 pick, I can't sit here and say that's somehow the worst thing for the franchise. Oh, Aaron Glenn won 2 games. That means he's not a good head coach. So if he wins 4, he's a better head coach? Like, it's such an arbitrary line we're now drawing for evaluating the coach. Well, if Glenn finishes with 4 wins, he's a good coach. But if he finishes with only 2, he's the worst ever. Like, I don't know if my opinion of Aaron Glenn's going to change that much. I think he's had a bad year. I think he's been better of late. He's been better with the clock management, been better with the timeout usage. He's been better with the media, almost like someone got in his ear and said, hey, man, stop being so combative all the time over nonsense. It's a fight. You don't need the pick. You don't need the added scrutiny and attention on yourself. Like, I don't know. As a Jet fan who loves them, I understand why there's a lot of fans who are okay with them losing. I do. I mean, we've seen the Jets win meaningless games late in the year and try and sell us on culture in the past. It leads to nothing. Really, it leads to nothing. You got to get a quarterback. And you have all these assets. Ideally, you don't have to use them all to move up to get the quarterback. You could take the quarterback and then use all the assets that surround the quarterback with players and fill some of the holes that Chuck was talking about. He said something about a donut as well and a hole. And I don't know. I saw Joe Leo's mind just get in the gutter there. I was wondering. I'll leave it at that.
We got a break.
1 hour to go in our show. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick. We're taking you till 10. We're going to make picks in the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to talk more about the Thanksgiving Day games. We got a Black Friday game. Jets, Giants, get to some baseball as well. Keep it right here. Jake Asman with you on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Hey, it's Desmond Howard. You want to win the weekend? It all starts with the tailgate. And for me, that means Kingsford Charcoal.
They've been bringing the flavor, the smoke, and the heat since 1920. No wonder they're still the gold standard of grilling. So fire it up, feed your crew, and let the smoke do the talking. Kingsford, the king of the tailgate. Get it today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
ESPN Bet is becoming the score bet this December. The same betting app you love with a new look and promos curated just for you. Existing ESPN Bet customers don't have to change a thing. Your account, wallet, and bets will all remain the same. Plus, kick things off right now by logging in and claiming a 100% profit boost. More action, more rewards, more for you. The score bet coming this December. 21 plus, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hockey fans and holiday shoppers, check out Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg December 2nd live from the NHL shop in Manhattan West Plaza, a block from the Garden. They'll be talking all things NHL.
It's hockey, man.
And they'll be joined on site by hockey legend Mark Messier. It's all powered by Game 7 apparel and headwear as they launch their new assortment in the NHL shop. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg December 2nd live from the NHL shop.
At the 5-yard line, handoff Brees Hall, finds a crease, runs left, he's into the end zone for a Jet touchdown. Jets fans, clear the runway and be at MetLife Stadium for Week 13 as your New York Jets take on the Atlanta Falcons. Sunday, November 30th at 1 p.m., presented by New Jersey Lottery. Join us as we celebrate First Responders Day. Don't miss your chance to be at the game. Lock in your seats now at nyjets.com/tickets. Once again, that's nyjets.com/tickets.
It's that time again, folks. The holidays are here, and if your partner's asking what to get you, make it easy for them. Tell them to add Manscaped to the list this year. From beard hedger to lawnmower trimmer, Manscaped keeps you clean, confident, and ready for every holiday gathering. These aren't just gifts, trust me. They're smart upgrades for your daily routine. So this season, give the gift of grooming and confidence that lasts long after wrapping is gone. Take advantage of Target's Black Friday deals and get 25% off all power shavers. Hurry up though, offer ends November 30th.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. Like on September 24, 2016, when Tulsa found themselves down 31-0 to Fresno State with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. Tulsa fought back to tie the game at 41. And then won 48-41 in double overtime.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
It's DNR on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app. Jake Asman in for the guys. Dave and Rick will be back on Monday. A Giants game day for Dave, so you know he's pumped up to watch his 2-10 football team take on the New England Patriots. Jackson Dart will be back, so that certainly makes the game more watchable. I'm looking forward to seeing Dart. My big thing with Dart, again, can he protect himself better? Right? And if Mike Kafka, who we know wants the job, but it's unlikely he's going to get it, is he calling a lot of design runs for Dart? He shouldn't be. Like, that's where John Mara's got to step in and say, hey, now, we're not doing this. All right, we know you want the job. You're not going to get it if you call a bunch of design runs for Jackson Dart. We need him healthy. We don't want him getting concussed again. We need him to play. I don't think you protect him by not playing him. Play him. He needs the reps. He needs the development. But you got to take care of him. Jets and the Falcons Sunday. I mean, look, can the Jets win? I think they actually will win. I think they're going to win 2 more games. This could be one of them. Either this one or next week against Miami feels very winnable. And then they play the Saints in New Orleans. That game in Jet history would be the one they win because it would have the biggest impact on the Tankathon standings. So it would be the most Jet-like for them to win that one. I think the Jets are looking at 2 more wins and picking anywhere from 4 to 6, 4 to 7-ish in the draft. And the question will be, do they love one of these quarterbacks? And if they do, what's the price to move up? And can you move up? If the Saints have the number 1 pick, I don't think you could get them to move off that pick. They might love one of these quarterbacks. That's the issue. That's why when Jet fans say, hey, I don't mind losing, I get it. I do. Now, Aaron Glenn, he can't talk about tanking. His job is to get his team ready to play. That's the job of the coach. Coaches play, players play. But here's the thing. We as fans, we don't have to worry about that. And I always try to remind myself this. How we root as fans has no impact on what's going to happen on the field. If it did, the Jets wouldn't be in the midst of a 15-year playoff drought. I promise you that. But this was Aaron Glenn the other day when he was asked if he's heard the noise about Jet fans wanting losses. And this is Aaron Glenn on Jets fans believing that they're actually better off losing these final games.
Let me give you a line that you guys heard before. You play the game to win. And it's just not in a coach or player's mentality to go out there and lose games. It's just not, we're not built that way. We're built to go out there and play as hard as we can to try to get as many wins as we can. And then we let everything else take care of itself as far as draft and all that. But anytime we step on the grass, we're trying to improve.
Look, I'm not going to kill Glenn for this. He played for Herm Edwards for 1 year. It was the year before the famous you play to win the game press conference. right? Glenn was with the Jets till 2001. That was Herm's first year. Then the 2002 season when they won the AFC East for the last time. That was the 2-5 start when the Jets rallied to win the division. So I won't kill Glenn completely, but he said this.
You play the game to win.
What he meant to say was this.
Hello, you play to win the game.
And honestly, the best part about that line from Coach Herm is the hello. The hello is like that's drop worthy too. Like the actual drop is
hello, you play to win the game.
But the hello, that could work when you just bring on a caller, or if a caller's not there, you hit that. I mean, the possibilities are endless here. They really are. But Glenn instead gave us this.
You play the game to win.
Just doesn't flow as much. Maybe Glenn could give us a hello, and we could work around it. I don't know.
But he needs original material. Just stay with original material.
He's been better with the media. I don't know if you care about it, Joe. I mean, I'm someone who's like, why make it a story? And you got to almost earn the right to be, an a-hole with the press, right? That's kind of my thinking on it. It doesn't drive me crazy. I think it's an unnecessary battle that he puts himself in. But it almost sounds like someone spoke to him and said, hey, man, like, tone it down. You're 2-9. There's just no need to do this. The media's been fair to you this year. They're not jumping you. Like they're, the guys on the beat, no one's calling for his job yet. Everyone understands where the Jets are at. Maybe tone it down. And to his credit, he has. I don't know, Joe, you're a Jet fan. Does it bother you how Glenn at times has been with the reporters during these pressers?
Absolutely, but I'm also not going to completely kill him because he needs to be him. And if this is him, I guess we'll have to learn to deal with it. But there are times where it's just completely unnecessary. It's unwarranted. It becomes a story when the last thing you want to do is add another distraction to this football team. But there are some stuff that it is kind of endearing. There are some stuff that I'm just completely over with, and that began with how he started his press conference in April. But it is what it is with Glenn. Like, he needs to get better, and his time with the media is part of that.
I'm pressing my drop button.
You play the game to win.
There it is. Want to fire off here.
Hello, you play to win the game.
Jets are going to be playing to win Sunday. Will they? I mean, they're a 2.5-point underdog. It's not a crazy thing to picture Kirk Cousins and the Falcons losing to the Jets. Falcons do need the game. They are still alive in their own division at 4-7 because the Panthers are a 500 team, Tampa 6-5. So they are still alive, but I don't know. I don't think this Falcons team is very good in their situation. Talk about being in a bad spot. So Penix is out for the start of next year because he tore his ACL for the third time in his life. Kirk Cousins, at best, is a high-end backup at this stage. At best. And the Atlanta Falcons right now, they would have pick 11 in the draft, except they traded their first-round pick in the Pierce trade in the draft to get the pass rusher. So the Rams have their pick. So if Atlanta keeps losing games, there's a scenario where the Falcons end up with like a top 8 pick that they don't own. The Rams win the Super Bowl, and Atlanta doesn't have their own pick. So the Rams win the Super Bowl, and then I guess they could have like a top 5 pick even. Just crazy. Just crazy. But that was a bad trade at the time. I didn't understand it, and it does not look good this year either. 800-919-3776. Artie in Florida is up next on DNR with Jake Asman. Hello, Artie.
Hey, Jake. How are you today?
What's going on, Artie? Hope you're having a good Black Friday so far.
Yeah, so far so good, buddy. I wanted to ask you about this scenario. We know that a guy like Trevor Lawrence, I heard rumors that he was going to be traded. Would you sign on if they were to trade for Trevor Lawrence and draft maybe not one of these, first-round guys, but maybe like somebody like the Duke quarterback or something like that, somebody they could develop if they like? Because I'm really not impressed with any of the talent of these top quarterbacks that are going to be coming out of the draft.
What would you give up for Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I'm not sure what you would have to give up for him. I guess they would want.
They'd want your first rounder this year because they're going to try and get a quarterback to replace him, right? And you're taking on that contract. I just don't think he's good enough, honestly. I think Trevor Lawrence at times has been a good quarterback. The more I watch him, and it's not like I watch him a ton, but every time I watch him, I'm so not impressed with Jacksonville. I just think he got labeled this generational prospect, and he's been okay. I don't think he's worth trading multiple ones, which I'm sure they would ask for.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that he would probably. Jacksonville's kind of like the Jets. They're kind of like a dysfunctional franchise. I think that if he was to come play with the Jets, with the amount of collateral that we'd still have left after getting him, he would probably have the best offensive line he ever played in front of him. And he'd also probably have more weapons than he's had in Jacksonville, although they did have some good players. I just think there'd be a chance for, to win some games next couple of years and also develop a quarterback.
Look, I understand what you're doing, Artie. I understand the thought. I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is worth trading premium assets for. If you tell me it's Joe Burrow, whatever. And the only way I'd be cool with Lawrence is if it wouldn't cost what I think it would cost. Like, I don't want to trade multiple ones for a guy who's making $55 million a year, and I think he's overrated. Honestly. Trevor Lawrence this year's got 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He threw 3 last week, and they should have lost to the Cardinals. He's not what he was supposed to be, and that's why when people say, I don't love these quarterbacks this year, do we really know? Like, Jackson Dart a year ago at this time was a third-rounder. Now Giants fans love the guy. Like, it's a crapshoot. Keep drafting quarterbacks till you get one. That's why the Jets can't wait till 27 to get their guy. Get a guy now, and if that guy sucks, get another guy then the following year. I can't do it anymore, man. I cannot watch a team that has no one at quarterback that you're at least hopeful about developing. Like, the Jets should have drafted somebody this year behind Fields. Didn't have to be in the first round. But from the second round on, they should have added a quarterback at some point. I mean, Brady Cook might play maybe at the end of the year. He's a UDFA. Wouldn't the Jets be more watchable right now if they took a quarterback on day 2 or day 3 that they had in the pipeline instead of having to watch 36-year-old Tyrod Taylor, who, if the wind is blowing too hard on Sunday at MetLife, he might fall over and break? And then we got to go back to Justin Fields? Like, does anyone want that? No. No, Aaron Glenn, we don't want that.
You play the game to win.
It's going to be tough to win the game with either Tyrod or having to go back to Fields. And one quick point I want to hit on Fields before we do stuff you missed. So Justin Fields spoke the other day for the first time since his benching. You know, this guy, who the Jets, by the way, paid $30 million guaranteed, had the audacity, or, to quote Michael Kay, the unmitigated gall, to say that he didn't anticipate being benched. You see, that's the problem. Justin Fields' lack of anticipation is exactly why he was benched. I mean, he's not a good leader. I'm sorry. He seems like a nice guy. I don't think he loves football. Some of his answers at pressers, he just doesn't show a lot of energy on the sideline. I've been so uninspired by Fields. You wanted to give it a chance because what choice do you have if you're a Jet fan? You hoped he could be Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield or even Daniel Jones now this year. But the owner said it best. He was wrong to say it, but he was right. He can't complete a pass. I mean, that's the bottom line. But what a joke. He was surprised that he was benched. Dude, you've had 500 passing yards total your last 5 starts. You had 23 yards passing at halftime in the New England game. You should have been benched at halftime if it was up to me. I was screaming the next day on the station filling in for Michael talking about that. I mean, let's be real. Justin Fields would have been benched before the Bengals game if Tyrod was healthy. That was after what he said at the owners' meetings. They were going to go to Tyrod if Tyrod was healthy. It wasn't. And to Fields' credit, that was the last good game he played. They won. Then they had a bye week. Then they played the Browns. If Fields didn't complete a screen to Breece Hall, that won them a game, plus the 2 scores on special teams. You take out the screen pass, he had 12 passing yards in that game, but because they won and played a short week on Thursday, we got to go to Justin Fields for another game. Like, he should have been benched a month ago. And he's coming out saying he didn't anticipate being benched. He's surprised when Glenn came to him and said, we're making a change. That's why you got benched. You have no anticipation skills in the first place. But I digress. I don't know. I digress. What is there to say? I hate that I root for this team. Anyway, I know what we could do. It's a segment we call on DNR, Stuff You Missed.
The you missed.
And there's a lot of it, Jake. while you were stuffing your face with Thanksgiving Day turkey, or steak in your case.
That's right.
There was a lot of college basketball, like a lot of college basketball. We will start with number 4, Duke, outlasting Coach Cal, number 22, Arkansas, 80-71 in the CBS Thanksgiving Day Classic. BYU beat Miami 72-62 to advance to the Terry's Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational Championship game tonight against Dayton. That's a mouthful. Jeremiah Fears and Michigan State, they dominate number 16 North Carolina 74-58. Steph Curry in the NBA, he's going to be out at least a week with a quad contusion. Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Cup. Are you excited about the NBA Cup, Jake?
Oh, I am. I'm pumped. By the way, the Thunder, because they have the Clippers pick, there's a chance they could actually get the number 1 pick after they win their second straight championship this
How about
year.
that?
Unbelievable.
Huh? That Paul George trade coming in real clutch for. Has there been a better trade in NBA history, or maybe sports history, than that trade?
I don't think so. I think the Thunder should retire Paul George's number. Like, at least have some sort of acknowledgement for him in the rafters of their arena.
You know, like the Patriots and Mo Lewis. I'll just leave that there.
Whose side are you on, Joe?
Well, I mean, Mo Lewis is the best Patriot probably of all time. He ushered in the Brady era. I'll leave it there. Anyway, Jalen Williams will make his NBA season debut in the NBA Cup tonight against the Phoenix Suns. The New York Knicks, which you could hear later on our air, will play the Milwaukee Bucks for the chance to make the 3rd consecutive NBA Cup semifinals. They will be the only team to reach that feat. And if the Bucks beat the Knicks, well, they will be the only team in the NBA to make all 3 NBA Cup semifinals. Are you going to be at the cup ceremony if they raise a banner for the Knicks?
Oh, I'll be there. It will be a big championship. The city will definitely have a parade. I know our new mayor is apparently a Knicks fan. So, I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to win an NBA Cup?
As a Net fan, I would love it, but, that's all I could probably hang my hat on for the next decade.
There's no way you as a Net fan would want that.
I wouldn't, but it would be something to at least cheer for. I have nothing to cheer for the next 6 months.
I heard that Dave Rothenberg, if the Knicks win the NBA Cup, is going to be doing this.
You want energy? I'll open my butt cheeks and give you energy today.
That's how much
it
means to Dave Rothenberg. Jeez.
There will be 4 top 10 college football teams in action this afternoon or this evening. Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, which has implications more off the field than on the field with Lane Kiffin. Georgia, Indiana, and Texas A&M are also all in action. Jamarcus Shepard, the Alabama co-offensive coordinator, gets a 5-year deal to now be the head coach of Oregon State. And
did you say Jamarcus Russell?
No, Jamarcus. Did I say Jamarcus Russell? I meant Jamarcus Shepard, the co-assistant coach, now head coach of the Oregon State Beavers.
Harvey, did he say Jamarcus Russell, or I just heard that in my head?
I heard Shepard, but you're probably thinking about the Raiders and maybe trying to lay some money down on the Raiders.
I don't know what I was thinking of there. We were talking about quarterbacks at the top of the draft. I guess I just went to the biggest bust of them all.
Not Zach Wilson?
He's in the conversation. Yeah, he really is. If you look at like a guy with his numbers over the amount of starts he made in the NFL, it's crazy.
Now, you might have missed this on NBC. Jason Garrett, right before halftime, had a very interesting story. And again, you might have missed this because this might have been a perfect peak turkey nap time in between the first and second half of the late game. But he had a very, very interesting John Madden story. Take a listen.
A lot of dinners and a lot of time with John Madden as a player and then as a coach. He was certainly a mentor to me. And we had one really memorable experience together. I don't know if you remember the American League Division Series in 2001.
Yep.
Right here, Derek Jeter makes the signature play where he backs up and he flips it. They were down 2-0 in the series, and this changed the whole thing around. They go to the World Series. And I can remember the next day watching Fox's coverage of football, and they're promoting the baseball. And Madden says, how about that Derek Jeter? He's the kind of guy that you pick first and decide what game you're playing next. And I heard it. I'm like, that's the greatest compliment you could ever give anybody in your life. You just want them on your side, regardless of what you're playing. Football, baseball, basketball, opening up a pizza shop. Vintage Madden.
I don't know what a pizza shop has anything to do with it, but that got me thinking, if you could pick any athlete right now to just start a recess team with, who would it be?
I thought you were going to ask me if I could pick any athlete right now to start a pizza shop with. I was like, don't I got to go Tommy DeVito based on everything that occurred in this city the last few years?
Absolutely.
Look, I thought actually just listening to it live that Jason Garrett telling that story was awesome, and he actually kept the piece of paper that they wrote this this fake team on that they were drafting, which I thought was cool. Also, Jason Garrett apparently kept a turkey leg that he got when he was the Cowboys quarterback filling in for Aikman, and he won a start on Thanksgiving. He apparently kept that turkey leg in his freezer for 20-something years till he realized what it was when he was moving. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said. So, interesting night.
Smell awful.
Oh, it's got to be just brutal, right? But he told some good Madden stories on the broadcast last night, and the game was a stinker by the second half. So, it kept me entertained as I was still up watching this, even though I had got up at 4:30 a.m. To do this show today. That was a great Jeter story, though. But to answer your question, Joe, if you're taking any athlete right now, my first answer, believe it or not, I thought of the Greek Freak or Wembanyama because I feel like they'd be good at any sport just because of their freakiness, their athleticism. But if you want just the best winners out there, you still might take Tom Brady, right? You still might take Michael Jordan even today. I don't know. But that's kind of where my mind went. I went through which athletes in sports are so good that they'd be good at any sport. So I thought of those two basketball players first.
My mind goes to Mookie Betts, but because he just seems like he's good at everything he does.
Why not Ohtani at that point?
Maybe.
Or Judge. Judge could give you any sport as well. Football, baseball, basketball. Why not? You put some skates on Judge. I'm sure he could be a better version of Matt Rempe in no time.
And that, Jake, is a Thanksgiving stuff you missed?
Oh, there was plenty of stuff we missed, folks. There was plenty of stuff that we missed here on this wonderful radio show.
Rick DiPietro and company.
That's right. All right, 800-919-3776. Your calls coming up. And since I know the hot topic on the show this week with David and Rick is when do they do the picks? How are they going to handle the picks? I just said I'm going to take matters into my own hands on Friday. I'm going to make a pick for every damn game. All right? Every game. You want picks? Get ready. Picks are coming. You want energy? Get ready. I won't be doing this, though.
You want energy? I'll open my butt cheeks and give you energy today. Oh, my God.
But the picks are coming up next. Jake Asman in for Dave and Rick till 10 a.m. Then it's Ty Butler and Bart Scott hosting Bart and Carlin today. Keep it right here. 880 ESPN New York, ESPN New York's YouTube channel, and the ESPN New York app.
Whether you're shopping, gaming, or streaming this Black Friday season, don't take slow for an answer. Get Optimum Fiber for the fastest, most reliable, and most consistent internet speeds. Starting at $25 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com to switch. Act now and get a full year of Netflix, an unlimited mobile line, a $400 prepaid card, and more, all on us. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today. Optimum, don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
NFL Sunday is
Paid advertisement for the Wellness Company.
Hey there, it's Michelle Smallman from Unsportsmanlike. I'm thrilled to be joined by Dr. Drew from the Wellness Company. And Dr. Drew, you have something very exciting to talk about today, the medical emergency kit. Tell us a little bit about this.
It is exciting. Look, I have been fighting to try to protect the patient-physician relationship my entire career, and we have lost. I finally decided I need to be involved with people that put the power back in the patient directly. These emergency kits give you everything you need so you don't have to spend $1,200 going to the emergency room. We have a significant medical team, the medical board at TWC, and we just sat down and put together what we would want for our family, for our patients.
Oh my gosh, so anything that anyone could need is in this
and there's
kit.
a guidebook here to tell you exactly how to use it, and again, telehealth backup.
It's remarkable. It's innovative. Everyone needs to get one. UrgentCareKit.com/sports, promo code sports to get $50 off your kit. That's UrgentCareKit.com/sports, promo code sports.
Prescription required. Always consult your doctor to determine if this product is right for you.
DNR here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app. Number to call, 800-919-3776. If you're already starting on your Thanksgiving leftovers this morning, enjoy it. We appreciate you being tuned in. Dave and Rick are back Monday. We got Joe Leo and Harvey Cruz producing. And I know the conversation of how we're going to do the picks on DNR this week was something that the guys discussed. They ended up making some picks, I believe, during Wednesday's program. Well, I heard that, and I was a little offended. Like, what? I'm not qualified to relay whatever picks you guys make? You could just text me, Dave. You could just text me, Rick. RJ. Ray, you guys could have just shot me a text. By the way, RJ did text me yesterday that he was listening, so shout out to RJ. But I said, okay, I'll make picks for every game because I know people love the picks. So you know what? Let's make some picks, baby. Hit it.
NFL picks.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs and lay the net.
Of DNR.
Pro Picks presented by Amazon Pickup. I'm just going to let it rip. I'm picking every game. All right? Every game. So stop what you're doing and get ready. We'll start with Black Friday later today. Eagles, 7-point favorites. I'm taking Philadelphia at home. I'm laying the 7. Philly's elite in close games. They are great off a loss under Nick Sirianni. Chicago has a negative point differential. That screams regression to me against a legit Super Bowl contender. I think the Eagles bounce back at home. Simple as that. I'm not a believer yet in the Bears. This would show me a lot if they win. Game number 2. Let's get to the Sunday games now. Jaguars at Titans. Jacksonville. I think their quarterback's overrated, but I'm going to lay the 6.5. I'll take Jacksonville. Tennessee's winless at home. 10 straight home losses. Worst rushing offense in the league. Just a brutal matchup against the Jaguars defense that stuffs the run. Cam Ward at this stage doesn't have enough around him or enough development to beat a team like Jacksonville. Give me the Jaguars here, laying the points. Texans at the Colts. This is a huge game in the AFC South. Give me the Colts minus the 4.5. I think a lot of people are going to pick Houston. I covered Davis Mills when I was still down there. I'm amazed he's played at times as well as he has. I just think there's regression coming at some point. Indy undefeated at home. Huge point differential there. Jonathan Taylor, I think, will be able to produce enough against an elite Texans defense. And, again, it's not C.J. Stroud, it's Davis Mills. So I think the Mills party has to end at some point. Give me the Indianapolis Colts laying the points. Saints at the Dolphins. I'm rooting for the Saints, but I can't pick them. Give me Miami minus 6. They've been a lot better of late. New Orleans is one of the worst offenses in the league. They turn it over. They keep every total under, so if you want to make a safe bet, New Orleans team total, maybe bet the under there. Miami's coming in off a bye. McDaniel, 8-chain, I think ready to attack a team that could barely get the 20 points. I think they're going to win. So I'll take Miami, even though I hope I'm wrong. Falcons at the Jets. I'm going to take the Jets here. I'm getting 2.5 points. Maybe it's 3 by the time we get the kickoff. I think the Jets are going to win at least 2 more games. This feels like one of the games that's winnable that's remaining. Atlanta, they have a very good pass rush, but I think the Jets have a good offensive line. Tyrod Taylor's competent. Kirk Cousins, I don't think is great. I think the Jets, if there was ever a time to force some turnovers, it has to be this game, right? Like, just statistically speaking, there'll be a game like what Cincinnati did last night. As bad as their defense is, they came up with 5 turnovers. Are the Jets going to get 5 turnovers? No. Can they get 1 or 2? Have a short field? Win a game at home? I could see it. I will take the Jets, and I'm getting points. Cardinals at the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay. I am laying the 3. Tampa still controls the division. They need the game. I know it's Bridgewater, not Baker, but I still believe Tampa at home can get it done. Arizona's winless against teams with a winning record. They always lose close games. That's a sign of a team that I don't think is very well coached. Wouldn't shock me if Jonathan Gannon's out of a job at the end of the season there. Give me the Tampa Bay laying the 3. Rams at the Panthers. This line was 10. Now it's 10.5 in some places. I'm going to bet it at 10 because it favors my pick, and I make the rules on this show. So Rams laying the 10. We're taking them. I think they're the best team in the league right now. The Rams are rolling. I think the way Stafford's playing, I think the way that Bryce Young played last week, that concerns me. I just think the Rams, they know what's on the line. They want to be the 1 seed, get the bye. Maybe it's a close game for a half. Rams, too much firepower. They pull away, and they cover what is a big number, but I do think they cover the number. Vikings at the Seahawks, another big number, 10.5. I'm going to lay the points again. I'm taking Seattle. Sam Darnold, revenge game. He wants to stick it to the Minnesota Vikings for saying, we don't want you. We want J.J. McCarthy, who can't complete a pass. We don't want you, Sammy boy. Get lost. Darnold, bounce-back game against his old team. Jackson Smith and Jigba continues to play well. I think the Vikings might have to start an undrafted rookie in Max Brosmer because J.J. McCarthy's all banged up, right? So this, to me, screams Seattle in blowout fashion. Tough place to play for Minnesota going on the road. Bills at the Steelers. Look, if you get Mike Tomlin as an underdog, it's an auto bet for me. He's among the best in NFL history against the spread when he's an underdog. He's getting 3.5 points. Pittsburgh's at home. I know Josh Allen is the better quarterback at this stage over Aaron Rodgers, assuming Rodgers plays. But the Steelers just find a way, and I think the Steelers are going to be extra motivated after watching the Baltimore Ravens lose on Turkey Day last night. So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense will find a way to keep it close. Wouldn't shock me if they won outright. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are the team we think they are. They have the names. Watch the games. They don't look like the same team. Raiders at the Chargers. Chargers laying the 9.5. The Raiders are collapsing. Geno Smith has been Jets Geno Smith. Pete Carroll's been brutal. Justin Herbert coming off a terrible performance. I think Justin Herbert is a guy that will take that to heart. I think he wants to play well and bounce back. And God, do the Raiders just stink when you watch them. Chargers, I think they blow them out. Again, big number. I think they cover. I'm taking the Chargers. All right, 2 games to go. That's right. Picking every damn game. You want picks? You're getting picks on the program here. Denver, minus 6.5. I'm going to lay the points at Peter Rosenberg's Washington Commies. This game being on Sunday Night Football is a joke, but it is what it is. Denver, they've won 8 straight while coming back in every one of those games. They faced the Commanders on a 6-game losing streak. They're bad against the spread as well, if you look at it. I think Denver here, better coach, better quarterback. Game means more for Denver. Denver on the road gets it done. We saw the Commanders at home on Sunday night a few weeks ago, and Sam Darnold completely torched them. So I like Denver in the spot. And then finally, I mentioned this earlier, I'm taking the 7.5. If it's 7.5 on Monday, or even if it's 7, I'm taking the Giants. Jackson Dart's back. Other than that second Philadelphia game, the Giants have been in basically every Dart start. Why would I expect things to be different on Monday Night Football? Right? Jackson Dart is a guy that I think will provide an energy boost. Maybe firing Shane Bowen will provide some sort of boost for the defense, even if it's only temporary. And New England's good. Are they 10-2 good? Are they good enough to be laying this big of a number? I don't know. I mean, the Jets, if Justin Fields wasn't horrific in their Thursday night game a few weeks ago, the Jets were in that game and could have covered. New England, very good. Giants, I think, make it a game. 7, 7.5, whichever line you get. Too many points. Give me the Giants for my final pick. Ladies and gentlemen, those were my picks. But Joe Leo and Harvey Cruz, you guys can each give a pick if you want. Because unlike Dave and Rick, I have no problem allowing picks to be done in its proper spot on a football Friday. So if you have a pick that you love, something that is a must bet for you, now is the time, or forever hold your peace.
Now, this is a soft spot for me because I did picks on this show once upon a time. I sent my picks in along with Tom Bauer on this show, and they've kind of banished me. So I will give out one pick, and it is an absolute must bet. I'm not going to go Dave and say bet the house. But you definitely have to take the Texans plus 3.5 in Indianapolis against what I think is a paper tiger team in the Indianapolis Colts. So for my dramatic return to the DNR pick segment, I'll take the Houston Texans plus 3.5.
All right, here we go, feather.
Yeah. I like it. All right, Harvey. No pressure, but if you don't make a pick, then it doesn't matter. You're not on the record. You didn't step up with the regular producers out and give the people that listen to this great program every morning a pick they need to get through their Friday.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And Joe took my pick, so I will take someone's pick. I'm sure somebody has it. So I will take the 49ers with the 4.5.
49ers laying the 4.5. That's a good pick, too. Did I say that game? I did, right? Did I mention that? I don't even know. I thought I picked every game. If I didn't, I'm in agreement with Harvey. I'm picked out. All right. 800-919-3776. We'll get to your calls coming up. Last chance to get in here. We have the 3 stars at the end of the show as well. So we're giving you all the DNR benchmarks here on a Football Friday. One segment to go in the show. Keep it right here. It's Jake Asman with you. It's 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York YouTube channel, and the ESPN New York app. Right now, it's time for traffic with the great Debbie Duhane.
Good morning, Jake. Have a fantastic day. On this Black Friday, watch for extra traffic around our area malls. We're seeing delays right now on Tunnel Ave, closed in both directions at County Road in Jersey City. It's all due to an accident with down wires. Watch for slowdowns on the Van Wyck south at Rockaway Boulevard with a stalled truck. The outbound Gowanus at 39th, a disabled truck over there as well. And on the Hutch North at Weaver Street in Scarsdale, a collision. Traffic sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports, coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org. I'm Debbie Duhame, 880 ESPN, New York.
The Fall Savings Event continues this November at Bay Ridge Mazda. Lease the 2025 Mazda CX-30S for as low as $169 per month, or the 2025 Mazda CX-5 Select for as low as $229 per month, and get as low as 0.9% APR financing rates on select models. Plus, enjoy 1 year complimentary of Bay Ridge Plus benefits like ding and dent coverage, key replacement, windshield protection, and roadside assistance. Visit them in Brooklyn or online at BayRidgeMazda.com. Bay Ridge Mazda, where confidence comes standard. See dealer for details.
Bet365 is paying. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
Hey, it's Michael Kay, talking to you about my friends at PC Richard & Son. They're local, family-owned, and I trust them, and you can too. Right now, get Black Friday deals throughout the store. And with their holiday price guarantee, your price is protected. If the price goes lower from now through December 24th, they will match it. You can't beat it. Plus, you get fast and free delivery. PC Richard & Son, the company you could trust for over 116 years. Free delivery excludes Manhattan.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
ESPN Bet is becoming the score bet this December. The same betting app you love with a new look and promos curated just for you. Existing ESPN Bet customers don't have to change a thing. Your account, wallet, and bets will all remain the same. Plus, kick things off right now by logging in and claiming a 100% profit boost. More action, more rewards, more for you. The score bet coming this December. 21 plus, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Progressive knows sports brings people together, but you gotta feel bad for people who don't even get it. Some people will never know what it's like to see their favorite team's hopes decided by a ping pong ball to draft the next superstar. Or not. I mean, sure, it's silly for your happiness to hinge on the success of a 20-year-old entry-level employee, but you just can't help yourself. The stress is exhilarating. Progressive can't bring people together like the draft, but we can bring your home and auto insurance together with a bundle. So switch and see if you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states or situations.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Spiked Aid, Security Dodge, Amazon Pickup, and ESPN New York.
Black Friday on DNR. Jake Asman in for the guys. One final segment to go. We got 3 stars coming up in a bit. Right now, though, it's time for Game Time, which is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time. Rangers at the Bruins, 1 p.m. Devils at the Sabres, or as some refer to them as the Sabres, at 4 p.m. Islanders hosting the Flyers. I'll be in the building at UBS Arena, also at 4 p.m. I've never seen Matthew Schaefer play just yet, but I'm excited to watch the young 18-year-old phenom do his thing. And I noticed, by the way, as I'm doing the Game Time read, I'm wearing an Islander sweatshirt. Harvey Cruz is wearing a Devils hoodie. And Joe Leo, where's your Rangers gear? You got nothing on. What are we doing?
I didn't get the memo. That was clearly lost in the mail. I would have worn my Rangers hat, absolutely, but I didn't get the memo that we were all wearing, the tri-state hockey teams today.
The Rangers can't win at home, but the good news is they're great on the road. 10-4-1 on the road. They had a great win the other night against Carolina. They've been playing pretty well. Bruins good at home, so something's got to give here. We will see what happens. By the way, 10 wins on the road this year for the Rangers. Their most wins in their first 16 road games of a season. So they've done really well in that department. As far as the other games here in Game Time, Nets, Sixers in Philadelphia, and the Knicks hosting the Bucks tonight. That game's on Prime, and you can listen to it right here on the station. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. 800-919-3776. Let's get to your remaining calls right now. Last chance to get in. And Tommy in Connecticut is first up in our last segment here on DNR. Hello, Tommy.
What's up, Jake? Always good to talk to you. Hey, when you're going through the games with the NFL music behind you, is it really hard not to do the Raiders in the Chris Berman voice?
Yes, it definitely is. Or when I talk about the Jets too, I always go back to like when boomers yelling, "Curtis, my favorite Martin." Just growing up and watching Countdown to get all the highlights after all the games. That's the best.
Well, I appreciate your effort to keep it on the table. But you were talking about if you were going to start a franchise with any athlete, I'm going Bo Jackson. I mean, I assume he's even good at like darts. Why not?
You know what? I mean, that guy is arguably the best, like just pure athlete ever. So, and look, in this hypothetical fantasy, you get the guy in their prime, and you don't have to worry about injuries, which is obviously the thing that ruined Bo Jackson.
Hit his hip or whatever.
Yep.
Hey, man, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Tommy, great call. Appreciate it. Yeah, Bo Jackson's a great one. Again, my initial thought was if I want an all-time great athlete who I think could do anything, I was like Greek Freak, Wembanyama. How do you, if it's prime, like LeBron, right? That's such a great compliment, though, that John Madden paid the Derek Jeter. For those who missed it, we played the cut. Jason Garrett told a story last night that when Jason Garrett was a player, he was watching a John Madden broadcast, and as Fox was promoting the baseball playoffs featuring the Yankees with Jeter in 2001 after the flip play, they were talking about it. And John Madden said that Derek Jeter is the guy that you take first overall and then figure out what you're playing after. Like, that's like the ultimate compliment that you could give an athlete. It really is. There's some good ones. There's certainly some good ones. While we're on the Yankees topic here, again, the more I think back to what House Steinbrenner said the other day, the more it just boggles the mind. It really does. Talking about lowering the payroll, even if they don't end up doing it, was such a bad message to send, right? You cannot talk about cost cutting when you haven't won a championship since 2009. You cannot complain about the $100 million you got to pay to the city of New York when you're the Yankees and you still print truckloads of money. You just, if it's so hard, Hal, sell the team. And I don't think that's what Hal meant. But it just, optics-wise, it comes across terribly. Like, there's a major disconnect, again, between what the Yankees consider successful under Hal and what the fans believe is considered successful. And that's ultimately the biggest issue, right? Yankee fans, we're taught that it's championship or bust. And while I think that can't always be the goal, like things change, things happen, it's harder to win now than it was, the idea that the Yankees can look at the playoffs as, oh, it's a crapshoot, it's random. As long as we get in every year, that's fine. Eventually we'll break through and win. Explain how the Astros went to 7 straight ALCSs with 2 different managers and 2 GMs during that span. Was it a crapshoot for them? They went to the World Series 4 times in 7 years. The Dodgers, they won back-to-back titles. They've won 3 now during this run they've been on. But they also went to the World Series several other times. 17, 18. Again in 2020, the COVID year. They won the last 2. My big issue with the Yankees is you could say it's random if you were getting to the World Series a lot, and eventually you'll break through. They've been there once, and the only time they've been there since 2009, look who they played to get there. They beat the weak American League Central. They didn't go through Houston. They didn't go through Baltimore when they were good 2 years ago. They didn't go through an awesome Blue Jays team like they were this year. They lost to them. And anytime the Yankees have played a team that is on their level or better, they have not won. Think about it. Until this year, I said this to Ty yesterday when we talked about the state of the Yankees. Until this year, you have to go back to the wild card 1-game playoff when they beat the Oakland A's in Boone's first year in 2018 for the last time the Yankees won a playoff series. And that counts as a playoff series even though it's 1 game. That's the wild card round. You have to go back to that game the last time the Yankees beat a team that was not from the American League Central in the playoffs. Think about it. They could beat the Guardians. They could beat the Twins. I'm sure if they played the Tigers, they'd beat them too. But you got to go back to the Oakland A's, who aren't even that good in 2018 as the last time. Until this year, they beat the Red Sox. But we can be honest about what Boston is. They weren't a great team. The Yankees were better. The Yankees should have won. They became the first team to win a wild card round after losing Game 1 of the 3-game set. I was at Game 3 and watched Cam Schlittler's performance. It was awesome. But we can be honest. This is not a great Boston team. So for Hal to say what he's saying, and then the other thing that drove me crazy, again, you know, he talked in the press conference multiple times about how the mental mistakes, the base running, that stuff really bothered him. So firing Travis Chapman solves that? Like, Aaron Boone has no responsibility for this? And the other thing is, Boone tried to make light and downplay the Yankees' fundamentals being dog crap. He tried to downplay the mistakes they would make. Like Jazz Chisholm getting doubled off at first base on a pop-up to the second baseman. Like Austin Wells in extra innings, not knowing how many outs there are and walking off second base and the game being over after that, or the inning being over. There's so many examples. The Anthony Volpe leash that was the longest leash in human history. But Hal says he's unhappy with some of this stuff, and what are you going to do about it? Run back the same manager? Same general manager who's been here since 98 and they have not won since 2009. I was watching the Alex Rodriguez documentary the other day. I finally finished all 3 parts. And shout out to Michael Kay, who was excellent in that doc. And I'm thinking to myself, if they did not win in 2009, what do you think the conversation with the Yankees would be right now? You could say whatever you want about A-Rod, but thank God they won that title in 2009. If they didn't, the talk would be, it's 25 years without a title. If they didn't win in 2009, it'd be the new Yankee Stadium's the worst thing to ever happen. It's cursed. Since they left, they haven't won. Right? They had that one title first year that place opened. Imagine they didn't win. Imagine if 2009 was reversed with 2008. Imagine what the Yankee fan would be saying about Steinbrenner and the new stadium if they didn't have 2009. That championship in 2009, which is now 15 years old already, 16 years now. That is such an important title that the Yankees have because as long as 15 years is for any Yankee fan, imagine if it was 25 years for the New York Yankees. So I think Hal wants to win, but he's not going to be all in and no matter what it takes and hold guys accountable. I think guys are too comfortable. That's the problem. There's a perception that the Yankees lack the heightened urgency that they should have to try and make sure they win with one of the greatest players of this generation in Aaron Judge. He's got 3 MVPs now, should have 4 if Altuve and the Astros didn't cheat him out of another one his rookie year. Don't waste this. And are the Yankees going to be aggressive and bring back Bellinger and make other moves after they just gave Trent Grisham $22 million? They better be, right? So that's my big thing. Fans already feel like the organization has lost its edge, and then the comments reinforce that perception. The timing was awful. It was just, to me, a really bad look by Hal Steinbrenner. No other way around it. You know what's not a bad look? The 3 stars. Hit it.
A lot has happened today, and
number 3.
We'll start with, I don't know if you caught this, but
he's a guy that has historic ball security.
I want to know what that looks like from, the Rick perspective and an NFL perspective. I really want to know what that looks like.
Number 2.
Harvey did a great job with around the league, but he had a couple of missteps.
The Browns are favored by 4.5.
Quick adjustment. San Fran is favored by 4.5. You told me the Browns were favored.
What did I say? What is wrong? But the Titans are averaging 77.5 rushing yards per game.
That's enough on this game. Does anyone care?
Oh, will you tank for this guy? How about that guy? Let's lose again next year. No.
I like that one's so good.
Will you tank for this guy? How about that guy? Let's lose again next year. No.
That's the state of our football teams.
That drop could be played on a loop, basically for any conversation we do about the Jets from now until the end of the season.
Number 1.
It was Thanksgiving, and we didn't have Mel on.
I'm a gravy freak, guys.
But you did say this, Jake.
As a meatsman, I'll tell you it's not a great meat.
What is if you were to rank your top 3 meats, what would they be?
Ooh. Well, number 1 is the steak, but if you want me to be very specific, I'm going to go with the ribeye. Old Reliable, all right? And then I'm going to go ribeye 1. I'm going to go with bacon, number 2. And then I'm going to go with the Kobe beef for the ideal cheeseburger. How about that? Off the top of my head, top 3 meats.
I don't mind those rankings. I really don't. I think that's a solid 3 meats.
I told you I'm a meatsman.
I can't just leave that alone. And Jake, it's Rule 76.
No excuses. Play like a champion. It's DiPietro, Rothenberg, Asman, Leo, Cruz, and you. On 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Have a great weekend, everybody. As a meatsman, I'll tell you it's not a great meat.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like